Chapter 279. When Lu Qinxin revealed her true trump card, Zhao Feng's confidence instantly dissipated, as if he had fallen from the clouds into hell. True Spirit Realm. Her true cultivation has reached the True Spirit Realm. Adding on her bloodline power, her strength is most likely above Lu Yuan's. Zhao Feng's expression was solemn as his thoughts spun. The first time he saw Lu Qinxin, Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye had been blocked by a mysterious power. Not only was he unable to see through her veil, Lu Qinxin had even sensed it. At that time, Lu Qinxin's spiritual sense wasn't any weaker than normal True Spirit Realm cultivators. At that time, Zhao Feng had thought that Lu Qinxin's bloodline was special and her cultivation was close to the True Spirit Realm. Furthermore, once he opened his god spiritual eye, Lu Qinxin would definitely sense it. Now that Lu Qinxin's true cultivation was revealed, everything became clear. Feng, according to the bet, you have no chance of winning. Lu Qinxin smiled. Previously, Zhao Feng had used all his skills and schemes, but he had only managed to escape from Lu Yuan's pursuit. It was already very impressive for a mere seventh sky to be able to do this. However, if Zhao Feng had to fight Lu Yuan head-on, his chances of winning were minuscule. At this moment, according to the bet, Zhao Feng had to fight Lu Qinxin head-on and not run away. Lu Qinxin was the disciple of the female who had inherited the Tao of life and had many mysteries. Adding on her bloodline, she would be even harder to deal with than Lu Yuan. Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye quickly calculated his chances of winning. The final conclusion was that his chances of winning in a head-on battle was less than 30%. Of course, you can go back on the bet. Qinxin won't force you. Lu Qinxin looked quietly at Zhao Feng. If Zhao Feng went back on the bet and ran away, she would be disappointed. No matter how talented such a person was, he didn't have the right to be her husband. Zhao Feng stood still with his azure hair mixed with faint blue as his expression returned to normal. I didn't admit defeat. Zhao Feng slowly turned around and faced Lu Qinxin. At this moment, the two of them were so close that Zhao Feng could smell the beautiful woman's body fragrance. In an instant, the two of them stared at each other. Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye had already opened. The reason why he still had a 30% chance of winning was because of the mutating god's spiritual eye. The abyss at the center of those deep azure eyes extended endlessly, and a faint blue aura would occasionally appear. Zhao Feng's mental energy level wasn't much weaker than those at the True Spirit Realm, and when the faint blue aura appeared, it was comparable to those at the true human rank. Lu Qinxin didn't suddenly make a move. Her clear eyes faced Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye.
Even though it was close at hand, the attack on the mental level still surpassed the physical level. Whoosh! A faint blue aura appeared in Zhao Feng's green eyes, causing one's heart to palpitate. In that instant, the power of his god's spiritual eye suddenly rose. A wisp of hidden mental energy undulated. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye seemed to have a fatal attraction. Lu Qinxin's heart trembled slightly and she almost couldn't resist it. At the critical moment, she guarded her soul tightly, her willpower tenacious. At the same time, she activated the power of her bloodline. A layer of translucent silver light immediately appeared on her voluptuous and perfect body. She looked mysterious, like a beauty under the moonlight. With the cultivation of the True Spirit Realm and the mysterious bloodline power, the pressure on Zhao Feng was unprecedentedly large. Cold sweat seeped out of his forehead, but he still failed. It's useless. The difference in cultivation can't be crossed. Lu Qinxin sighed. Zhao Feng shook his head with a bitter smile as his cold expression suddenly became warm. Qinxin, do you know that ever since I first saw you, my heart has been moved by you. The light in Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye was abnormally gentle. He looked deeply at the beauty in front of him. Then why did you? Lu Qinxin paused. She didn't think that Zhao Feng would suddenly confess to her. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye circulated in a weird way and a mysterious power entered through the gaps of emotions. Lu Qinxin didn't sense it as her eyes turned red and became misty. Qinxin, I know I was wrong. I've decided to marry you. Zhao Feng's affectionate gaze and words that could melt the heart slowly seeped into her senses. Slowly. Zhao Feng slowly approached Lu Qinxin and caressed her shoulder. Feng, did you know? When I found out that you ran away, I lost control of my heart and felt cold like never before. At that time, I just wanted to find you and ask for an explanation. Lu Qinxin's eyes became misty and filled with tears of joy. She fell into Zhao Feng's mental energy illusion and fell into Zhao Feng's embrace. So easy. Zhao Feng was stunned. The situation was smoother than he had imagined. Just now, he had used all his strength to activate his god's spiritual eye, but he couldn't pull Lu Qinxin's consciousness away. But now, he had used a gentle method and used a mental energy illusion to attack the flaw in her heart, and he had succeeded. At this moment, Lu Qinxin's heart had been broken by Zhao Feng and her emotions were being controlled by Zhao Feng. So the flaw in her heart was because of me. That's why I was able to achieve such an unimaginable success. Zhao Feng's expression was complicated and he didn't feel good in his heart. He once again hugged the beauty in front of him. That beautiful body fragrance, that soft and fragrant body, almost made his mind drift. You've lost. Zhao Feng's mental energy illusion suddenly stopped as one of his hands was placed on Lu Qinxin's elegant snow-white neck. Lu Qinxin seemed to wake up from a dream as she realized that she was hugging him tightly. Her face instantly turned red. Although Zhao Feng's hand was on her neck, he didn't use any force as if he knew how to be gentle. Lu Qinxin couldn't bear the humiliation. Although she had left a trump card, this youth had slowly walked into her heart from the start of the marriage. He had successfully left a flaw in her heart when he escaped the marriage. Zhao Feng slowly put down his hand. Lu Qinxin's skin was snow-white and smooth, but at this moment, it had turned red, which dyed her face red. I've lost. Lu Qinxin calmed her emotions as a bitter smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Her clear eyes took one last deep glance at Zhao Feng, and then she turned around and slowly flew into the air. No matter what methods the other used, since she had lost the bet, Lu Qinxin wouldn't find any excuses. Zhao Feng looked at her leaving figure and suddenly felt that he had lost something. Using this method to win wasn't his original intention, but under the absolute calmness of the god's spiritual eye, it was the best shortcut. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and said solemnly, "One day, when I have nothing to worry about, I will come back and marry you." Lu Qinxin's body stiffened in the air, but she didn't turn her head. "I don't want your pity. But the prerequisite is that you haven't married yet." After saying this, Zhao Feng sat on the azure sharp swallow and left. The result of this bet had already lost its meaning. Although Zhao Feng had successfully escaped the marriage, he had left such a promise. For someone as emotionless as him, it was a miracle that he could say such words. "Master, is he the one for me, or is he my nemesis?" Lu Qinxin's eyes were cold. After a long time, she understood that Zhao Feng was an idiot when it came to relationships and his EQ was extremely low. Therefore, the promise he left behind was extremely rare and moved Lu Qinxin. Even after winning, Zhao Feng still made such a promise. If he was even more heartless or shameless, Lu Qinxin could only leave according to the bet. Fate in the unseen world was really hard to predict. Once again, there was a turn of events. The person he's looking for should be Empress Qin. I hope that the next time we meet, we won't be enemies. Lu Qinxin's eyes regained their calmness. When Zhao Feng first took out the half-jade comb, Lu Qinxin had already confirmed which branch it came from. Sitting on the azure sharp swallow, Zhao Feng's speed became faster and faster as he soared into the sky. I need to leave the flooding lake area as soon as possible. Zhao Feng felt a sense of urgency. Lu Qinxin wouldn't continue to chase him, but that didn't mean the city lord would. Zhao Feng's actions of escaping the marriage had damaged the flooding Lake Lu family's dignity and was a great humiliation to the city lord. Using this opportunity, the city lord had reached the true lord rank. Meow meow. The little thieving cat poked its head out from his shoulder and twirled the 2 bronze coins in its hand in the air. Zhao Feng thought. In Lu Qinxin's story, the sage had 3 female disciples. The first disciple chose the Tao of Life while the second chose the Tao of Charm. Lu Qinxin was the first disciple who chose the Tao of Life. The little thieving cat waved its paws and gestured as if explaining something. Zhao Feng could roughly understand and understood that the first disciple who chose the Tao of Life made Lu Qinxin change her name to Qinxin to fight for fortune. The results seemed to be very successful. Zhao Feng's arrival had forced the city lord to break through to the true lord rank. After that, Zhao Feng successfully escaped and promised to take Lu Qinxin as his wife. Of course, the prerequisite was that the latter was willing to wait. Meow meow. The little fraud tossed the 2 destiny copper coins and nodded repeatedly. There was even a hint of admiration in his eyes. If I'm not wrong, the one who chose the Tao of Charm is most likely Empress Qin. Many questions in Zhao Feng's heart were answered. The only mystery now was what was the relationship between Empress Qin and First Elder. In the following days, Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and confirmed his route before leaving the flooding lake area. Due to using the god's spiritual eye frequently, Zhao Feng's left eye felt more and more tired. More strands of light blue hair appeared in his head of green hair. The frequency of the faint blue aura appearing in Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye became more and more frequent. All these changes caused Zhao Feng's left eye to feel more and more tired. I can't hold on much longer. Zhao Feng gritted his teeth. Eventually, he felt tired and wanted to sleep at any moment. However, Zhao Feng knew that he couldn't sleep until he was far from the flooding lake area. His intuition told him that his slumber this time might not be short. After another 2 days, a surging river appeared in front of him. At this point in time, Zhao Feng had left the flooding lake area and entered a new area. Deep exhaustion covered Zhao Feng's consciousness. He didn't realize that half of his hair had already turned into a dreamy light blue. Even his eyes flickered with a faint blue luster, like dreamy blue crystals. I've reached my limit. Zhao Feng struggled and closed his eyes. Plop! His body turned into an arc and plunged into the surging river, drowned by the waves.
Chapter 280. In extreme exhaustion, Zhao Feng's consciousness started to blur and he fell into a deep sleep. After falling into the river, his body instinctively went into a state of rest. In the surging river, Zhao Feng was like a piece of dead wood that was blown by the wind and hit by the waves. Meow meow. The little thieving cat jumped out of the spiritual pet bag and sat on its owner's body as its black eyes spun. The little thieving cat's ability to enter and exit the spiritual pet bag and interspatial bracelet was still an unsolved mystery. The little thieving cat inspected Zhao Feng and then reached out with its paw and patted its owner's temple. However, Zhao Feng didn't react at all. But the strange thing was, the true power in his body, especially the blood meridian's power, seemed to have an instinct, and in some urgent situations, it would automatically protect his body. At a certain moment, the aura of a beast appeared in the river and locked onto Zhao Feng and tried to approach. Arcs of azure lightning flowed through Zhao Feng's body and a layer of cold blue appeared in his bloodline aura. This bloodline aura froze one's heart and made the beast that was approaching shiver. The little thieving cat thought for a while and took out 2 copper coins of destiny and threw them into the air, causing a ding-ding sound. The little thieving cat then yawned helplessly and returned back into Zhao Feng's spiritual pet bag. Day after day passed. Zhao Feng's body entered a dormant state. His body temperature was low but his life force was still present. The little thieving cat would occasionally come out and check on its owner's situation or fish in the river. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Zhao Feng went with the flow, and with the little thieving cat's help, the distance between him and the flooding lake was quickly widened. Meow meow. The little thieving cat stroked its whiskers and nodded its head in the direction of the flooding lake city. It was almost certain that Zhao Feng was out of danger. The flooding lake Lu family was originally one of the 3 strongest forces in the flooding lake area, and after the city lord, Lu Jiutian, reached the true lord rank, they became the ruler. After Zhao Feng escaped from the wedding, city lord Lu Jiutian issued an order to arrest Zhao Feng in the Honghu area. However, the Canopy Great Country's territory was too big and the factions were complicated. Even with the flooding lake city lord's current status, he could only order around the flooding lake. Outside of the flooding lake, there were many other factions. Some powerful sects and factions, along with the one emperor, 3 sects, 4 clans, there was also some relationship between them. Even within the Lu family, there was a lot of competition and infighting. Anyway, in today's big country, no one could truly command the world. Even the royal family felt powerless.
Therefore, the further away Zhao Feng was from Hong Lake, the safer he would be. The little thieving cat had signed a blood contract with Zhao Feng, and although it seemed to be carefree most of the time, it wouldn't just stand by and do nothing at the critical moment. After a month of sleep, Zhao Feng's hair had turned blue and his left eye had become a dreamy blue. From afar, he looked like a prince from a dream. However, in this period of time, Zhao Feng would occasionally murmur in his sleep. Under certain circumstances, his left eye would open for a short period of time. It was like a light blue crystal, clear and flawless, like a perfect work of art. The ancient shatters, the ancient gods fall, turning into billions of dust. The empty and desolate sigh echoed in the pitch-black space. This sigh seemed to pass through time and space. In the dimension of his left eye, the azure abyss had turned into a freezing pond half a foot wide. The water in the blue-cold pond was basically in a frozen state, and it was extremely cold. Zhao Feng's expression became colder and more emotionless. Every time he opened his left eye, an invisible coldness would freeze everything within 100 zhang radius. The nearby beasts, fishes, prawns, and beasts would shiver in fear. Even a normal true spirit realm cultivator would be moved by this cold aura. The little thieving cat's eyes were filled with expectation and respect. Sometimes, it would sit on Zhao Feng's body and cultivate. That's right, the little thieving cat was always cultivating, and the amount of spiritual pills, primal crystal stones and resources it ate could be said to be piled up like a mountain. Time passed by. Apart from the occasional opening of his eyes, Zhao Feng was still in a deep sleep state. While he was asleep, not only did his cultivation not decrease, it actually increased. On this day, Zhao Feng, who was like a dead tree, walked through the waves and entered a beautiful bay. This bay was filled with heaven-earth yuan qi, and the path was complicated. At the beginning, there would occasionally be a few figures here. Gradually, the sound of flying came from the sky. Zhao Feng's body moved up and down, and the various states of his body started to recover. His face became red and his breathing and heartbeat became more obvious. In his mind, Zhao Feng was having a weird dream. In the dream, he saw a battlefield and scenes that surpassed his imagination appeared in front of him. In the scene, giant figures fought until the heavens and earth cracked and the sun and moon lost their light. Zhao Feng even felt the heaven and earth tremble, and some loud noises could pierce through his soul. In some scenes, the sky seemed to be torn apart and the earth shook. Any shockwave from the battle could flatten the flooding lake city. This is a legend. Zhao Feng's heart jumped. Although the scenes were blurry, the slightest aura caused his soul to tremble. Sometimes, even his thoughts were restricted. Although the scenes weren't clear, Zhao Feng could tell that it was an ancient era where legends fought. In the scenes, there would occasionally be some clear details. For example, the battle skills of an ancient god or the experience of an ancient god. In the dream, Zhao Feng was mostly blurry, but he would occasionally comprehend something. Sometimes, after comprehending for a while, Zhao Feng would feel very tired and his consciousness would become blurry. Look, there seems to be a person in the water. Amidst the waves, an azure ship sailed over. On the green ship, a 12-year-old girl with a ponytail pointed forward with bright eyes. The figures on the ship looked over. This person is floating on the water and doesn't seem to be dead. There seems to be a cat. The people on the ship exclaimed. The ponytail girl ordered, "Come, fish him up." Hee hee, that cat looks so cute. Miss Xiaoyu, this person's background is unknown. He might be a pirate. The people on the ship were slightly hesitant. Meow meow. The little thieving cat stood on Zhao Feng's body and waved its paw in disdain. Everyone paused and could roughly understand that the cat was defending its owner. What a smart cat. Its owner definitely isn't a bad person. The ponytail girl had a joyful expression as she ordered a few sailors to fish Zhao Feng up. Zhao Feng's dreamy blue hair made the girl sigh, "What beautiful hair." Everyone clicked their tongues in wonder. There was a curious woman who reached out her hand to touch and identify the hair. She confirmed that the texture of the hair was crystal clear and definitely not dyed. After being moved onto the ship, the blue-haired youth was still sleeping. The little thieving cat jumped up and down on the ship, making the ponytail girl happy. Little cat, hello. I'm called by Xiaoyu from the Transverse Water Bays by family. The ponytail girl introduced herself. Meow meow. The little thieving cat patted its chest as if it was introducing itself, causing everyone to be dazed. At this point in time, the atmosphere on the ship became lively due to the little thieving cat's appearance. Xiaoyu, what's going on with this cat and this youth? An old voice sounded from a room on the ship. Greetings, Lord Bai. The people on the ship respectfully bowed. In the Transverse Water Bay, the Bai family was one of the top forces. Apparently, the Transverse Water Bays Bai family could be traced back to the main branch of the Bai family and could barely be considered a branch of the Bai family. However, due to the complicated geography of the Transverse Water Bay, it was half isolated from the outside world. This Bai family had lost contact with the Bai family long ago. But no matter what, the Bai family's prestige was undeniable. Lord Bai had a head of white hair and held a dragon head cane. His eyes twinkled as he inspected the little thieving cat and then the sleeping youth on the deck. After understanding the situation, Lord Bai ordered, contact the alchemist to wake this youth up and then interrogate him about his origins. There was an alchemist on the ship who took Zhao Feng's pulse and his eyebrows furrowed after observing for a long time. The alchemist used several methods, but Zhao Feng was like a piece of dead wood with no reaction. Lord Bai then personally took Zhao Feng's pulse. The result was the same. The blue-haired youth was in a deep sleep and couldn't feel anything. The people on the ship even suspected that this youth was in a vegetative state. Let's move back first. Recently, the severed blood pirates have been acting strangely in the Transverse Water Bay. This person needs to be guarded. Lord Bai said in a low tone. With his experience, it wasn't hard for him to see that Zhao Feng had a bloodline and had reached the seventh sky at such a young age. The seventh sky of the Ascended Realm was an extraordinary cultivation in the Transverse Water Bay and was definitely an expert. Soon after, the ship entered a bustling stronghold that was much bigger than Zhao Feng's hometown, Sunfeather City. This was the center of the Transverse Water Bay, the Transverse Water Stronghold. The fishermen, merchants, and small families all used this stronghold as the center. When entering the stronghold, many people would be inspected and almost no outsiders would enter. This was because recently, the famous savage blood pirates frequently appeared at the bay, causing many innocent people to lose their lives. In the Transverse Water Stronghold, the Bai family was the strongest and had the absolute right to speak. The reason why Zhao Feng wasn't inspected was because he was carried in by the Bai family. After entering the Bai family, Zhao Feng was placed in a wooden hut and there were 8 experts at the 6th and 7th sky of the Ascended Realm guarding the door. For the next 2 days, the Bai family found 2 alchemists to check on Zhao Feng, but they didn't find anything. However, Zhao Feng's complexion, breathing, and heartbeat were all recovering and were close to normal. The little thieving cat stood by his side and occasionally yawned. On this night. Little thieving cat, how long have I been sleeping for? A weak voice sounded in the air. The little thieving cat jumped up in fright and shuddered. The blue-haired youth opened his eyes. His left eye was like an ice-blue gem and a coldness seemed to be able to freeze one's heart. Chapter 281. When Zhao Feng woke up and opened his eyes, the 8 Bai family experts guarding the wooden hut felt an inexplicable coldness penetrate into their souls. In that instant, it was as if their thoughts had been frozen and they all shuddered. Zhao Feng wanted to get up but found that his body was extremely weak. After all, Zhao Feng hadn't eaten in the past month and was in a state similar to hibernation. My mental energy level has surpassed my physical cultivation. It's comparable to the true spirit realm. Zhao Feng touched the mental energy level and jumped up in fright. In the dimension of his left eye, a small freezing pond a foot wide was covered in ice and gave off a faint blue light. Zhao Feng's current source of mental energy was abnormally strong, and it contained a terrifying element of ice. This coldness could even seep into the soul dimension. From then on, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye had successfully evolved once again. Meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paws around and with a bit of gesticulation, Zhao Feng soon understood that he had slept for a month and 12 days. That person's awake. The Bai family experts surrounded the wooden hut as if they were facing a great enemy. Zhao Feng laid on the ground and retracted the aura of his god's spiritual eye as he put on the new eye patch that Master Taigon had given him. The faint silver eye patch was as thin as a blade, sharp yet elegant. The instant the eye patch was put on, the aura of Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was hidden to the maximum. Bam! At this moment, the door to the wooden hut was kicked open. 2 experts of the 7th layer of the Bai family blocked the entrance, their eyes cold and sharp. Zhao Feng had just finished putting on the eye patch and the appearance of a one-eyed man caused the expressions of the others to change as their hostility increased. This brat is indeed a pirate. There are more than 10 one-eyed bandits in the Transverse Water Bay area and none of them are easy to deal with. Most of them are leaders. The Bai family experts were on guard as if they were facing a great enemy. Pirates? This scene caused Zhao Feng to be stunned. When did he become a pirate? Zhao Feng had just woken up and had no idea where he was. The area around Transverse Water Bay was filled with pirates. Among them, there were quite a number of bandits who wore eye patches. There were even some pirates who, in order to increase their killing intent, would wear an eye patch even if they were not one-eyed. Sigh. Zhao Feng lay on the ground, powerless. Over the past month or so, although his cultivation had been progressing steadily, his body hadn't eaten or moved. It was weak and limp. If he really had to fight with these people now, it would really be a bit difficult. Let's go, we're hungry, let's find something to eat. Zhao Feng crawled up from the ground with some difficulty. Ignoring the Bai family experts, he walked straight out. It was strange. The 7 or 8 experts of the Bai family circled around the wooden hut as if they didn't see Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat. After the evolution of the god's spiritual eye, Zhao Feng's mental illusion technique was activated without any warning. The 8 experts of the Bai family were trapped in a maze of illusions. A moment later, in the Bai family's dining hall. Meow meow. The little thieving cat grabbed a few large fried fish and began to wolf them down. Zhao Feng's expression was cold as he slowly ate, his eyes occasionally inspecting the surroundings. At the start, he would use a mental illusion technique to disguise himself, but as more and more people came, he didn't care and started to eat like a tornado. Someone come quickly. Pirates dare sneak into the dining hall to steal food. The Bai family's dining hall was in chaos. A man and a cat sat in the cafeteria, minding their own business and eating. This was especially so for the little thieving cat. It even picked up a jug of wine and drank until its eyes were hazy. More and more people came to watch. It wasn't long before the 7 or 8 experts of the Bai family rushed over. However, whenever they neared Zhao Feng, they would circle around as if they had lost contact with the outside world. Anyone that had hostile intentions would be thrown into an illusion by Zhao Feng's mental illusion technique. More and more people gathered in the Bai family's dining hall. This matter quickly alerted the head of the Bai family. Which thief dares to cause trouble in my Bai family? An invisible pressure swept over like a storm, causing the breathing of the people near the dining hall to stop. The newcomer was a purple-clothed middle-aged man whose chi of half-step true spirit realm formed a powerful aura that caused the entire dining hall to become deathly silent. Zhao Feng faintly glanced at him. Looks like it's a small family, around the same level as the overlooking Mist Lu family. Now that his god's spiritual eye had reached a new level, he wouldn't need to fear even those at the true spirit realm. Everyone please calm your anger. This one happened to pass by and was saved by you. This one is grateful for your hospitality. Zhao Feng had just finished eating and stood up to say. No matter what was said, the Bai family had fished him out of the water and given him a good meal. If he were to just leave like that, he would feel bad. You're finally awake. A girl with a ponytail smiled as she walked out from the crowd and started to play with the little thieving cat. The head of the Bai family was still suspicious and wary. This youth was extremely weird. The Bai family experts that tried to attack him all spun around on the spot. Even the head of the Bai family couldn't see through this youth. Go and summon Master Bai. The head of the Bai family ordered. The most important thing was to calm this youth down. Recently, the savage blood pirates have been around the water stockade, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. They've harmed many innocent people. These people have mistaken little brother for a pirate, please forgive them. The purple-clothed middle-aged man smiled as he politely greeted Zhao Feng. After a discussion, Zhao Feng had a basic understanding of the transverse water bay. The transverse water bay had 2 main forces. One was the pirates and the other was the families, merchants and fishermen that formed the transverse water stronghold. Simply put, it was black and white. The transverse water stronghold is the center of the bay and the pirates usually don't dare to come close. At most, they would rob some merchants and passers-by. But recently, the famous severed blood pirates have somehow snuck into the bay. I don't know what their motive is. The head of the Bai family said as he observed Zhao Feng's expression. Zhao Feng's expression was cold and emotionless. After the god's spiritual eye had evolved, Zhao Feng's expression became colder and colder. But this didn't mean that Zhao Feng wouldn't think. The transverse water stronghold is after all the center of the bay and is heavily guarded. It's easy to defend and hard to attack. No matter how strong the severed blood pirates are, they're just a bunch of bandits with limited numbers. Zhao Feng analyzed. He came to a conclusion that the severed blood pirates definitely didn't want to attack the transverse water stronghold. They probably had another goal. The head of the Bai family silently stalled Zhao Feng and waited for Master Bai to arrive. Master Bai was extremely respected in the transverse water bay area and had a high status in the Bai family. It was said that this Master Bai was close to 200 years old. Without a doubt, only those at the true spirit realm would have such a long lifespan. However, after the head of the Bai family waited for half the time it took to make tea, there was no news at all. The little thieving cat's eyes twinkled and with a wave of its paw, the 2 bronze coins flipped in the air with a ding-ding. Bad omen? Zhao Feng looked inquiringly at the little thieving cat. The little thieving cat nodded its head, but this bad omen wasn't referring to Zhao Feng, but Master Bai. Reporting to the head of the Bai family. Master Bai disappeared this morning. Someone said that he was seen leaving the Bai family last night. A servant came to report. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. The little thieving cat did have some skill and could accurately predict bad omens. Reporting to the head of the Bai family, the situation isn't good. The Severed Blood Pirates have led 18 groups of pirates to block the 3 waterways near the bay. A shocking piece of news spread throughout the stronghold. The Severed Blood Pirates were famed for their bloodthirstiness, and their leader, the Severed Blood Bald Eagle, was said to have reached the true spirit realm. Under normal situations, the Transverse Waters stronghold wouldn't be afraid of being surrounded by pirates and would have the absolute advantage. Pass down my order. Lock down the stronghold. No one is allowed to move. The head of the family took a deep breath and said solemnly. At this critical moment, Master Bai, who had the highest cultivation in the Transverse Waters stronghold, had mysteriously disappeared. The Bai family and the other forces didn't dare to move. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be surprised. Were the pirates really going to attack the Cleansing Water stronghold? Taking 10,000 steps back, even if these pirates could really massacre the Transverse Water stronghold, their losses would definitely be extremely tragic. How many of them would survive in the end? Although there aren't any experts at the true spirit realm, the stronghold has many experts and their numbers are several times that of the pirates. It's easy to defend and hard to attack. The head of the family calmly walked towards the entrance of the stronghold and gave out orders. Because the stronghold was locked down, Zhao Feng could only stay in the stronghold for now. Within the stronghold, many of the locals were panicking. It was rare to see a situation like this where pirates gathered together and targeted the stronghold. Compared to them, Zhao Feng was extremely relaxed. After leaving this secluded bay, I'll be able to reach the capital after passing through 3 lakes. It looks like I've traveled a long distance on the river. Zhao Feng started to study the map. From the current situation, the destination of his letter wasn't too far away. As long as the pirates left, Zhao Feng would be able to head towards the capital. However, things weren't as smooth as Zhao Feng had imagined. The pirates that had gathered around the stronghold had no intentions of leaving. The air and waterways were all under the control of the pirates. The pirates don't attack the stronghold. What's their goal in doing this? Zhao Feng didn't understand. Just when Zhao Feng couldn't resist anymore and was about to leave the stronghold, another piece of news came. Master Bai is back. A wave of exclamations came from the entrance of the stronghold. Zhao Feng focused his eyes and saw a white-haired old man holding a dragon-head walking stick float into the stronghold. Master Bai's face was pale white and one of his legs was missing, covered in blood. He looked to be in a terrible state. Master Bai. The head of the Bai family, Bai Qiaoyu and company exclaimed. Last night, after my investigation, the Severed Blood Pirates' goal wasn't the stronghold, but the legendary Water Moon treasure trove. Master Bai's voice was hoarse as he quickly sat down to heal. Water Moon treasure trove. How is this possible? The Water Moon treasure trove has always been a legend in the bay. Even if the Water Moon treasure trove really exists, even us locals don't know about it. How would the Severed Blood Pirates know about its location? The high level of the stronghold paled. Hearing this, Zhao Feng couldn't help but understand. The mystery in his heart was solved. No matter how arrogant the pirates were, they wouldn't attack a heavily guarded city. Their true goal was the Water Moon treasure trove. However, the location of the trove was near the bay. Opening the Water Moon treasure trove would cause a commotion and it was impossible not to attract the attention of the locals. Therefore, the Severed Blood Pirates sealed the waterways so that the stronghold wouldn't act rashly. This was the only way. Only then could the pirates achieve their goal of monopolizing the treasure. Chapter 282. Master Bai, what should we do? Do we just let the Severed Blood Pirates take the Water Moon treasury? The Transverse Water Bay is our territory. How can we just give the treasure to those pirates? But Master Bai is heavily injured. The upper echelon of the stronghold started to discuss. Most of them were greedy for the Water Moon treasury and weren't willing to let the pirates take it. After all, the Water Moon treasury was in their territory. How could they just let the pirates take it away? Water Moon treasury? What's the legend behind it? Zhao Feng couldn't help but be curious. These locals had all heard of the legend of the Water Moon treasury. Only Zhao Feng didn't know anything. However, from how Master Bai had been injured, it seemed that the Water Moon treasury was extremely attractive to those at the true spirit realm. Master Bai's eyes twinkled as he said in a low tone, "The Severed Blood Bald Eagle, the leader of the Severed Blood Pirates, was extremely cunning and had set up a trap to lure me in. I ended up being ambushed, but he was also heavily injured by my counterattack." Hearing this, everyone became even more enraged and suggested killing their way over to take the treasure. Although Master Bai had been ambushed by the Severed Blood Bald Eagle and lost a leg, the latter was also heavily injured. Overall, Master Bai was at a greater disadvantage. Luckily, the Transverse Water Stronghold still had many elites. Immediately, Master Bai sat cross-legged to recover while the head of the Bai family started to gather the upper echelon and experts. After discussion, the stronghold decided to send a portion of their elites to fight for the treasure. Of course, there were still some people left to guard the stronghold. In half the time it took to make tea, the Transverse Water Stronghold had gathered a strong group of 4 experts at half-step True Spirit Realm, 17 at 7th Sky, and dozens of experts from the 6th and 7th Sky. It was obvious that the Transverse Water Stronghold was going to take the path of elites. On one hand, the stronghold needed to be guarded, but on the other hand, it was selfish. The more people that went, the less benefits there would be in dividing the treasures. Master Bai, what should we do with this unknown youth? The upper echelon of the Bai family stared at the blue-haired youth not far away with enmity. The blue-haired youth was wearing an eye patch and had a cold and indifferent expression. He didn't look like a good person either. Master Bai, in this time of crisis, I suggest that we kill 1,000 innocents instead of letting a single fish escape the net. A cold light flashed in the eyes of one of the 7th Heaven experts. This suggestion was immediately accepted by some people. Some of them even believed that Zhao Feng was a spy among the pirates. Zhao Feng was stunned, and he couldn't help but rub his chin. Meow, meow. The little thieving cat jumped onto Zhao Feng's shoulder, its face full of disdain as it brandished its claws. Facing the covetous gazes of the Transverse Water Stronghold's experts, the man and the cat were very calm. Humph. He's the person I rescued to the shore with my own hands, and there's also this cute and clever kitten. How could they be pirates? Only Bai Qiaoyu stood out to protect Zhao Feng. Master Bai's gaze swept across the man and cat, and his expression changed a few times. When Zhao Feng had been fished up, Master Bai had personally inspected him, and it wasn't hard to find the bloodline inheritance in this youth. In the Canopy Great Country, bloodline inheritance represented a noble bloodline. Wouldn't such a person be welcomed anywhere? Was there a need to become a pirate at such a young age? Furthermore, under the hostile gazes of the crowd, the calm expressions of the man and cat made Master Bai secretly surprised. This was especially so for Zhao Feng. He couldn't see through him. He was 80% sure that this youth had nothing to do with the pirates. But nothing was absolute. If he left this mysterious youth in the stronghold, he would be an uncontrollable factor. How about this, little friend, are you interested in coming with us to fight for the treasure? Master Bai suggested with a warm smile. Zhao Feng couldn't help but pause, and his thoughts turned. This Master Bai was indeed smart. Since he didn't trust Zhao Feng, it was better to bring him along to fight for the treasure. If Zhao Feng had any ulterior motives, they could easily kill him with their group. If Zhao Feng was innocent, with his cultivation and eye bloodline, he could become a powerful ally. Okay. Zhao Feng nodded his head in agreement. He still didn't understand the Water Moon treasure that everyone was talking about, so he asked. This brat really doesn't know about the Water Moon treasury? The elites of the stronghold were slightly shocked. If Zhao Feng really didn't know about the Water Moon treasury, then it meant that he wasn't from this area and had nothing to do with the pirates. The origin of the Water Moon treasure trove is directly related to the famous flower-plucking flying bandit from 100 years ago, the Water Moon pirate, the head of the Bai family started to explain. 100 years ago, there was a famous Water Moon pirate in the Canopy Great Country. The Water Moon pirate ran amok in the Canopy Great Country and committed countless crimes. He stole many treasures and tainted many women. Although the Water Moon pirate's cultivation hadn't reached the peak of the Great Country, he had a peerless speed that allowed him to come and go without a trace. Several true lord ranks had chased after him, but he had successfully escaped. Zhao Feng only heard half of it before he understood. This Water Moon pirate had peerless speed, and not only did he taint many beauties, he also took countless treasures. After he died, he sealed his treasures in a secret place. This was the origin of the Water Moon treasury. However, Zhao Feng was slightly curious. If the Water Moon pirate's speed could be said to be unparalleled, how did he die? The next words of the head of the Bai family solved the mystery. The Water Moon pirate cultivated the mystic flower treasured Bible, which is close to the high-tier spiritual grade and is a peerless technique of the wicked path. Cultivating this technique can absorb the yin energy of women and harm others for one's own benefit. The Water Moon pirate relied on this technique to reach the true mystic rank in just a few decades and reach the transcendent rank. However, the higher the cultivation of this technique, the higher the requirement for the target's cultivation. Until one day, he set his target on the beauty of the great country, Empress Qin. Empress Qin. Zhao Feng's breathing tightened. He didn't think that the Water Moon pirate's death would be related to his target. Empress Qin was known as the #1 beauty of the Canopy Great Country and had reached the true spirit realm. She became the target of the Water Moon pirate. The Water Moon pirate was extremely arrogant and entered the Imperial's and Empress Qin's palace without anyone knowing. However, the Water Moon pirate failed this time. In the end, he burned his chi of true spirit and risked his life to escape to a faraway place. He buried all his knowledge and treasures in a hidden place. Everyone could not help but sigh when they heard this. The Water Moon pirate roamed the great country freely, but in the end, he was too high profile and dared to touch the emperor's woman. Now, the Water Moon pirate had died almost 100 years ago, and the treasures he had left behind were enough to tempt those at the true lord rank. The wealth this pirate had accumulated was probably even more than normal true lord ranks. We can't let the severed blood bald eagle get the Water Moon pirate's treasures, especially the mystic flower treasured Bible. Especially an evil secret technique like the mystic flower treasured book. If it's spread, it'll be a great threat to my transverse water stronghold. Master Bai said through gritted teeth. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone agreed unanimously. That's right, we must stop the pirates from getting the treasures. The transverse water stronghold must work together to fight for the treasures and destroy the mystic flower treasured Bible. Everyone was full of righteousness and soon formed a group of elites. Zhao Feng stood on the side expressionlessly as if he was a bystander. Although these people spoke righteously, which one of them wasn't greedy and wanted the Water Moon pirate's treasures? If they really got the mystic flower treasured Bible, who would give it up so easily? One had to know that spiritual grade skills were almost extinct on the continent. Even Zhao Feng's lightning inheritance was only around the high-tier spiritual grade, and the mystic flower treasured Bible was a wicked technique that could raise one's cultivation in a short amount of time. Not long after, under Master Bai's lead, the elites of the transverse water stronghold charged into the depths of the bay. These elite troops included Zhao Feng, who was the outside help. Zhao Feng could sense that there were at least 4 people in the crowd watching his every move. Apart from Zhao Feng, Bai Qiaoyu was also in the group. This 12 or 13-year-old girl had reached the 5th sky and her talent was extremely high. However, from Zhao Feng's point of view, with her strength and experience, she would only be a burden. Regarding this, the upper echelon of the transverse water stronghold were also puzzled. The head of the Bai family was also slightly against it. However, this was decided by Master Bai and he had chosen Bai Qiaoyu to come with him. Qiaoyu is smart and proficient in arrays and mechanisms. She had even trained under a mechanisms grandmaster before. According to what I know, the Water Moon pirate specialized in robbing tombs and mechanisms when he was alive. It can be imagined that the place he left behind must be filled with mechanisms. Master Bai also gave an explanation. He was the only one at the true spirit realm in the group and had the highest position in the transverse water stronghold. Since Master Bai had made the decision, no one had any objections. Bai Qiaoyu was innocent, and when she heard that they were going to fight for the treasure with the pirates, she felt that it was very fun and happily accepted. On the way, the sound of her playing with the little thieving cat added some liveliness to the group. Bai Qiaoyu has been training in arrays and mechanisms since she was young. Coincidentally, the Water Moon treasury has such a layout. How could it be so coincidental? Zhao Feng was puzzled, but he didn't ask in case Master Bai became suspicious. The treasure-hunting elite troops galloped along the way and encountered several groups of pirates. Naturally, they were utterly defeated. After all, the cultivation of the group was at least at the sixth sky, and there was even someone at the true spirit realm. After traveling for more than 100 miles, a quiet green river appeared in front of them. This part of the river was slightly weird. On the surface, the water was calm, but there were countless whirlpools underneath. On the shore of the river was a pirate ship. When the elites from the transverse water stronghold arrived, the people on the pirate ship were already waiting. The pirates on the ship were also elites, and their leader was a one-eyed man in red robes wearing a black eye patch. He had a savage expression and was surrounded by the pirates. The formation of the pirates wasn't simple and wasn't much weaker than the elites from the transverse water stronghold. Old Bai, you've lost a leg and burned your chi of true spirit, injuring your foundation. Instead of going back to rest, you still dare to come and fight for the Water Moon treasury. The one-eyed man in red robes licked his lips, and a bloody and domineering aura of the true spirit realm caused the river to surge. Chapter 283. Ha ha ha. The pirates on the ship started to laugh savagely. The red-robed one-eyed man wore a black eye patch and was bald. He was the famous leader of the Severed Blood Pirates, Severed Blood Bald Eagle. Zhao Feng inspected him slightly. Although they were both at the true human rank, the aura from the Severed Blood Bald Eagle was much stronger than Master Bai's. No wonder this person was able to kill Master Bai and almost succeeded. Severed Blood Bald Eagle. The Water Moon treasury is in the territory of the Transverse Water Stronghold. If you pirates don't retreat quickly, more and more reinforcements will arrive and they'll be able to catch you all. Master Bai's expression was calm and his eyes were sharp. His voice contained the aura of the true spirit realm that pierced through the hearts of the pirates. The expressions of the pirates on the ship changed. The people that Master Bai brought were all elites and there weren't many of them. In reality, the Transverse Water Stronghold still had more people. If time dragged on, the situation would become disadvantageous to the pirates. We've already sent the news outside. Severed Blood Bald Eagle. If I remember correctly, you're wanted by both the Iron Blood religion and the Imperials. The head of the Bai family laughed coldly. The people from the Bai family weren't easy to deal with either and all retaliated. However, both sides didn't have any plans to fight for a while. Both sides are evenly matched, but the one who doesn't want to fight is Master Bai. Zhao Feng's eyes were sharp and he knew the situation of both sides. Why didn't Master Bai want to fight? Only Zhao Feng, whose god's spiritual eye had evolved, could see Master Bai's injuries. Master Bai has burned his chi of true spirit and injured his foundation. He's missing a leg and only has 60% of his peak battle power. On the other hand, although the Severed Blood Bald Eagle is also injured, his battle power is stronger than Master Bai's. His injuries aren't fatal and he has at least 80% of his battle power. Zhao Feng's evaluation of strength was very accurate. This was something that even the Severed Blood Bald Eagle and Master Bai couldn't compare to. Master Bai didn't dare to truly fight the severed blood bald eagle and thus created a situation where they were evenly matched. Furthermore, the Bai family had threatened to leak the news to the outside world. As such, the severed blood vultures didn't dare to fight a protracted battle. They would either end the battle quickly or negotiate for peace. It was unrealistic to want to end the battle quickly. After all, both sides seemed to be evenly matched on the surface. But if they really fought, both sides would suffer. Perhaps there would be an Oriole lurking behind, benefiting others. The severed blood bald eagle's expression kept changing. Most importantly, he couldn't be sure if the transverse water stronghold had spread the news outside or if there would be any reinforcements. However, Zhao Feng knew that the transverse water stronghold hadn't spread the news yet. Now, the entire stronghold was sealed. The Water Moon treasury was no small matter. If it attracted even more terrifying experts from the outside, then no one would be able to obtain the treasures. After the time it takes to brew half a cup of tea. The Transverse Water Stronghold and Savage Blood Stronghold reached a temporary agreement. The two of them opened the treasure trove together. The Severed Blood Pirates were naturally unwilling to accept this. On the other hand, the Severed Blood Bald Eagle's expression was calm. This was the territory of the Transverse Water Stronghold. He had put in all sorts of effort, and in the end, he was able to open the treasure trove with them. He had already achieved his goal. Furthermore, the fight for the treasure was a battle of wits and courage. The people from the Transverse Water Stronghold had a very ridiculous feeling. They had always fought with the pirates. Who would have thought that they would be able to negotiate with them and open the treasure trove together? Of course. It wasn't that the Transverse Water Stronghold didn't have any advantages. The Severed Blood Pirates had grasped the exact entrance to the treasure trove and had a plan to open it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so easy for Master Bai and the others to open the Water Moon treasury. As Zhao Feng thought up to here, he admired Master Bai's plans more and more. The location of the Water Moon treasury is in a secret cave a few hundred feet below the river. However, there are many whirlpools in this river and some of them can even pull large ships away. Normal Ascended Realm experts would find it hard to block them. The Severed Blood Bald Eagle was expressionless as he said simply. The pirate ship stopped by the shore, not daring to approach that area. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye focused on that area and saw many whirlpools. These whirlpools had a strong pulling force. Even a seventh sky expert wouldn't be able to escape unscathed if he went in. However, on the surface, this area appeared to be calm and deathly still. Next, both sides sent people to tie ropes and dive into the whirlpool area to search for the Water Moon secret cave. The Transverse Water Stronghold sent out a sixth and seventh sky expert to dive into the river to search. The result. The first sixth sky expert went in for a while and then there was no movement. When the rope was pulled up, it was a pale white face. That person's corpse was cold as if it had been squeezed by something. Seeing this, the pirates rejoiced in the misfortune of others. The second seventh sky expert went in for a while and struggled to get to the shore. The whirlpools at the bottom of the river are filled with terrifying pressure and pulling force. The seventh sky expert's face was pale white and he had no energy left. Master Bai's expression became solemn. If the entrance to the Water Moon treasury was so easy to find, the Severed Blood Pirates wouldn't have waited for the Transverse Water Stronghold. Zhao Feng didn't make a sound as he walked around the shore. His left eye could see what was happening in the river. The whirlpools seemed to have a natural force. The more one resisted, the more terrifying the force would be. In the end, you would have to resist the terrifying tearing pressure produced by hundreds and thousands of whirlpools all by yourself. Even normal experts at the true spirit realm would find it hard to resist this natural force. Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. If they just sent people to search again and again, it would be hard to find anything and they would only lose their lives. Master Bai noticed Zhao Feng's actions and smiled faintly. Little brother, what do you think? Being an expert at the true spirit realm, Master Bai's words obviously attracted the attention of both sides. The pirates looked at Zhao Feng's figure and were slightly surprised. At first glance, they thought that this fellow was one of their own pirates. From what I see, we should first find out the layout of the whirlpools. There seems to be a natural array below, Zhao Feng said. As soon as he said this, the eyes of the severed blood bald eagle flashed. This brat does have some skill. Could it be that he accidentally found it? The severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed Taoist next to him exchanged glances. The azure-robed Taoist squinted his eyes as he scanned Zhao Feng and laughed darkly. This brat's eyes are indeed sharp. It's very likely that he knows some arrays. So, the severed blood pirates had long since tried to break the natural array below. In reality, it was almost impossible to break the natural array. It was the same as fighting against the limitless power of heaven and earth. Therefore, the severed blood pirates were trying to find the weakest path through the whirlpool. Simply put, they were trying to find the weakest path through the whirlpool. With a clear plan, the people from the transverse water bay that knew arrays started to discuss. Bai Qiaoyu was a genius in arrays and mechanisms. Apart from her, there were also two elders who were proficient in arrays. At this point in time, the transverse water stronghold and severed blood pirates were both trying their best to research and would occasionally send people down to search. Zhao Feng coldly watched from the side as he circled around the shore. Both sides were discussing how to avoid the whirlpool and how to open a shortcut to find the entrance to the treasure. Sigh, what a bunch of idiots, Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. That's right. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye had already seen through the mysteries of the natural array. He had even confirmed the entrance to the treasure. If the severed blood pirates were to know, they would probably spit out blood from shock. One had to know that to find the entrance to the treasure, they had spent countless manpower and resources. The number of experts they had lost was at least 2 hands. As for Zhao Feng, he only circled around the shore twice before finding the entrance. Time passed bit by bit. Whether it was the transverse water stronghold or the severed blood pirates, they had all met a bottleneck in finding the entrance. On the transverse water stronghold side, Bai Qiaoyu's array skills had exceeded Zhao Feng's imagination. However, there was a huge deviation in the direction of their thinking. Looks like I need to remind them, Zhao Feng thought in his heart. He didn't have the thought of devouring the treasure by himself. This was because it was only a matter of time before these people solved the water moon treasury. The longer this dragged on, the more people would come for the treasure, which wasn't good for Zhao Feng. There's a saying that, the most dangerous place is the safest place. Zhao Feng walked next to Bai Qiaoyu and reminded her in a low voice. The 2 array experts on the side were slightly hesitant and had cold smiles on their faces. Oh. I understand. Thank you, Brother Zhao. You must be a genius. Bai Qiaoyu was full of joy. Everyone's gazes turned towards Bai Qiaoyu. Bai Qiaoyu's face was slightly red as she smiled. The water moon treasury should be at the most dangerous area of the whirlpool. If I'm not wrong, the eye of the natural whirlpool array should be there. Impossible. The most dangerous area of the whirlpool has terrifying power that can tear those at half-step true spirit realm apart. One of the elders objected. Hearing this, Zhao Feng almost scolded him for being an idiot. The strongest force of a natural whirlpool is in the surroundings. The eye of the whirlpool is actually very quiet. This whirlpool array is even more mysterious. The more you resist, the stronger the pulling force. On the other hand, if you don't resist and follow this force, you might be able to reach the safest place with the least amount of effort. Bai Qiaoyu quickly explained. In one sentence, she had seen through the mysteries of the whirlpool array. What she says makes sense. The eyes of the azure-robed Taoist from the pirates' side lit up. They weren't stupid. It was just that their thoughts had been wrong and they had instinctively wanted to avoid the area with the strongest whirlpool. However, it was the opposite. The most dangerous place was the safest place. Furthermore, the location of the water moon treasury was very particular. If one wasn't willing to take the risk, how would they obtain anything? Next. Chapter 284. What a bunch of idiots. An extremely disdainful voice instantly aroused the anger of the pirates. All of them looked at him with hostility and dissatisfaction, and they almost rushed over to kill him. The one who started it all, the blue-haired youth, stood on the shore without any fear. Luckily, the leaders of both sides had their subordinates under control and wouldn't easily fight. The eyebrows of the severed blood-bald eagle furrowed as a cold light flashed in his eyes, and he started to discuss with the azure-robed Taoist next to him. Master Bai revealed a weird expression as he glanced at Zhao Feng. After all, everyone's thoughts were affected by this blue-haired youth. The failure just now also made the severed blood-bald eagle and company unhappy with Zhao Feng and Bai Qiaoyu. Brother Zhao, what went wrong? Bai Qiaoyu asked. It's best to send an expert at half-step true spirit realm. Don't be like that idiot who didn't even dare to circulate his true force. Zhao Feng said casually. His expression was relaxed and casual, as if he was an outsider in this fight for the treasure. Hearing this, the transverse water stronghold side were stunned. So that's how it is. That idiot. Everyone understood. Going with the flow of the whirlpool could reduce the pressure, but they had to protect their bodies as well. The pirates immediately felt a little embarrassed. That pirate from before was too cautious. However, a corresponding question also arose. This youth was clearly standing on the shore. How did he know what's going on? The azure-robed Taoist's eyebrows furrowed. Only the two at True Spirit Realm could spread out their spiritual sense to a certain degree and clearly see what was going on in the river. Only Master Bai had a thoughtful expression. That day when Zhao Feng had been fished out, he had already found the latter's unique bloodline. Next, both sides followed Zhao Feng's suggestion and sent an expert at half-step True Spirit Realm to go with the flow of the whirlpool. At this time, the two at True Spirit Realm both released their spiritual sense. The spiritual sense of those at the true human rank could usually spread out several miles, but in this area, it was greatly restricted. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye easily saw the details below. This time, the two strong martial artists who were diving down used true power to protect their bodies and did not resist the whirlpool. They even followed the flow of energy and dived into the depths of the river. There was still a vast area in the depths of the river that needed to be explored. Even the severed blood vulture and Master Bai's spiritual senses were blurry in this area. However, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye was still able to grasp the details. He even knew where the water moon treasure was. After half a cup of tea's time, two streaks of smoke appeared at the bottom of the river and disappeared in a flash. Success! Both Master Bai and the severed blood vulture revealed looks of joy. This was a signal from the people below. Zhao Feng stared at the bottom of the river, deep in thought. It was easy to pass through the natural whirlpool array, but how was he going to return? If one wanted to return to the surface, they would face the reverse whirlpool, and only those at the true spirit realm would be able to safely return. However, only an extremely small number of people could think of this. Most people were blinded by the enormous benefits of the water moon treasure, so how could they think of this? Thump! 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 The two sides followed the same pattern and jumped into the whirlpool array. Everyone, let's kill our way in. Master Bai couldn't suppress the excitement on his face as he charged into the whirlpool. Zhao Feng wanted to say something but it was too late to stop them. According to his analysis, although following the whirlpool could greatly reduce the pressure, there was still a limit. For example, if someone at the consolidated realm entered the whirlpool, they would probably be instantly torn to death. Zhao Feng estimated that he had a high chance of success after reaching the seventh sky, but it wasn't 100%. After all, the power of the whirlpool varied and it depended on luck. Of course, those at the half-step true spirit realm would definitely succeed. Zhao Feng and Bai Qiaoyu entered the whirlpool area together. Master Bai had ordered 2 experts at the half-step true spirit realm to protect Bai Qiaoyu, including the head of the Bai family. The head of the Bai family thought of how mysterious Zhao Feng was and how he seemed to understand the whirlpool array very well, so he decided to go with him. Reality proved that he had made the right bet. The people following Zhao Feng found that the pulling force of the whirlpool was smaller than expected. Zhao Feng's path wasn't a straight line, but an arc. The result. These people were abnormally relaxed and Bai Qiaoyu, who was at the 5th sky, could barely pass through. On the other hand, the sound of water crashing could be heard from the other areas and cries of pain could be heard. By the time they reached the bottom of the river and left the whirlpool area, both sides had lost more than half of their forces. Those below the 7th sky of the ascended realm had all died at the bottom of the river. There were even 2 cultivators at the 7th sky of the ascended realm who were unlucky enough to be pulled to death by the whirlpool. Only those at the half-step true spirit realm had died. This situation made the head of the Bai family's expression change and he couldn't help but look at Zhao Feng in a different light. This was because none of the people following Zhao Feng had died. At the same time, near the riverbank. Swoosh, 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 2 men and a woman slowly landed on the shore from a distant ravine. The one in the middle was a youth wearing a brocade robe. He had white skin and held a fan in his hand with a wicked smile on his face. On his left and right were a beautiful girl and a short elder with the brocade-robed youth in the middle. When the 3 landed, the brocade-robed youth gave off a powerful aura of the true spirit realm. Who's there? There were still a few people left on the riverbank and the pirate boats who were on guard. Before he finished his words, the brocade-robed youth waved his fan and dozens of peach blossom-like fan shadows flashed through the air. These fan shadows were like nothingness that instantly merged into the target's body. The body of the target that was merged into instantly started to rot and within a few breaths, turned into a puddle of blood. You're the fan-flying bandit. One of the pirates at the peak 7th sky managed to last for 4 to 5 breaths before his body rotted, leaving behind a puddle of blood. Fan-flying bandit. Apparently, he's the disciple of the Water Moon Pirate. One of the experts at the 7th sky of the Transverse Water Stronghold revealed a shocked expression. So, the Water Moon Pirate had taken in a few disciples when he was alive. The fan-flying bandit was his most outstanding disciple. However, because the Water Moon Pirate died too quickly, he didn't have the time to give his mystic flower treasured Bible to his disciple. Therefore, although the fan-flying bandit's cultivation had reached the true spirit realm, he was very cautious and low-key and was famous for his schemes. First senior brother, you're just going to let them go in and fight for Master's treasure? The woman in the flowery dress was extraordinarily beautiful. Her voice was soft and tender, and her posture was overflowing with charm. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Master is an expert in mechanisms and formations, so he must have made some arrangements. Let them be the vanguard. The brocade-robed youth landed on the pirate boat. The 3rd person, the short elder, sighed helplessly. With the 2 at the true spirit realm and the severed blood pirates leading the way, they should be able to clear out the mechanisms in the secret cave. There shouldn't be any need for me. The short elder smiled bitterly, as if he wasn't willing. At the bottom of the river, the 2 parties breathed heavily. Those at the 6th and 7th sky of the ascended realm obviously didn't need to worry about breathing and surviving in the water. Seeing the number of casualties, Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle's expressions were slightly ugly. It wasn't that Zhao Feng didn't want to warn them, but it was too late. Furthermore, who could resist the temptation of the Water Moon treasury and give it up? Furthermore, the way back was several times more dangerous than the way in. Only those at the true spirit realm had the confidence to come out alive. Master Bai, we've found the location of the treasure. Boss. No one noticed that a shallow palm print had appeared in the crack on the stone tablet, and it was sunken into the crack. The shaking of the stairs continued for a long time before calming down. Only Bai Qiaoyu, who was next to him, revealed a puzzled expression. Because she was so close, she could confirm that this palm print wasn't left behind by Zhaofeng, but was triggered by something. This stone tablet is indeed mysterious. Zhaofeng's god's spiritual eye caught a wisp of his own aura that entered the palm print. Chapter 285. Zhaofeng did not feel much pressure facing the angry gazes of the group. He only found it strange that the hardness of this stone tablet was not something that he could break. What was so mysterious about the palm imprint on the cracks of the stone tablet? Zhaofeng's god's spiritual eye confirmed that the palm imprint had already existed before he reached out his hand. If one didn't walk closer and look carefully, it would be hard to notice. Afterwards, the azure-robed Taoist and Bai Qiaoyu carefully examined the stone tablet and placed their palms on the cracks. They both had a strange feeling, but there wasn't any trembling like before. This steel should be a key switch of the treasure trove. It might trigger unpredictable dangers. After the azure-robed Taoist finished speaking, his cold gaze contained a warning as he glared at Zhaofeng. This Taoist was proficient in unorthodox methods and his methods were extraordinary. Even the pirates were wary of him. After this small interlude, it was still the azure-robed Taoist and Bai Qiaoyu who led the way for their respective groups. Bai Qiaoyu was indeed a genius in the path of mechanisms and formations. She had seen through many exquisite mechanisms along the way. However, she was inexperienced and couldn't make a decision at times. At this time, she wasn't asking the elders of the transverse water stronghold, but Zhaofeng. Zhaofeng had a certain level of understanding towards arrays and adding on the god's spiritual eye, he was able to discuss with Bai Qiaoyu. The elders of the transverse water stronghold that understood arrays were slightly dissatisfied, but they didn't dare to show it. After all, Zhaofeng had played a big role in solving the whirlpool earlier. When they reached a certain slope, the azure-robed Taoist's footsteps stopped as his eyes flashed and he secretly sent a message to the pirates. Bai Qiaoyu also sent a message to the transverse water stronghold, everyone be careful, there are some traps ahead. Some of the mechanisms and formations in the secret cave could be avoided, but some were hard to solve and could only be forced through. Everyone had a face of caution as they slowly walked forward. The moment they reached the slope, the walls on both sides started to crack as cold metal cylinders appeared. The surface of the metal cylinders had countless tiny holes that were rotating at high speed, shooting out silver needles that were as thin as a cow's hair. Xiao xiao xiao, those silver needles had a shocking explosive power, they were enough to pierce through the true power layer of a normal transcending mortality stage cultivator. Furthermore, they were emitting a strange green light, they were actually poisonous needles. Let's go. On the side of the pirates, they all revolved their true power to protect their bodies and tried their best to dodge and charge forward. The people of the transverse water stronghold cried out in alarm as they formed a defensive formation and crossed the dangerous slope. Ding ding ding. Everyone used all kinds of methods to deal with the poisonous needles that were shot from both sides. His cultivation had reached half-step true spirit realm and he could use his true force to create a gust of wind to deflect the poison needles. Those with nimble movement techniques could easily avoid most of the poison needles and block the poison needles with little effort. Pong! Zhaofeng's body was surrounded by arcs of cyan electric currents. As they revolved, they were incomparably accurate. The poisonous needles that got close to him fell to the ground, leaving behind pieces of charred black broken needles. Although the poison needles were extremely concentrated, they were only limited to a 10-yard area and most of the people successfully passed through. Looking back, there were a few corpses that were riddled with holes at the top of the hill. Purplish-black liquid flowed out of the corpses. It was a chilling sight. Just as they passed through the slope, black and white tiles appeared in front of them. The mechanisms here were even more profound and the azure-robed Taoist and Bai Qiaoyu wouldn't be able to solve them in a short amount of time. Crack. The tiles under the feet of an expert from the transverse water stronghold suddenly collapsed. Not good. The expert from the transverse water stronghold had just circulated his true force and was about to fly into the air when a metallic claw reached out from the pitch-black tiles and pulled him down. Arg! Shrill screams came from the collapsed pit, and as the black and white floor closed, the sound stopped abruptly. The tiles in this area would occasionally collapse and the metallic claw would pull the outsiders into an endless nightmare. The metallic claw was extremely magical and would automatically capture those that were close to it. There was a pirate that thought he was smart and flew into the air without touching the ground. However, one of his legs was ripped off by the metallic claw. The space in the secret cave was limited and one couldn't fly very high. Therefore, there was no height restriction for the metallic claw. The journey through the black and white tiles was extremely dangerous. The speed and power of the metallic claw was extremely powerful, and even an expert at half-step true spirit realm from the transverse water stronghold was almost pulled away. Luckily, Master Bai was there to help. Zhao Feng also walked very carefully. His god's spiritual eye could barely see through the black and white tiles and see the complicated mechanisms. The design of the mechanisms obviously took into consideration the spiritual sense of those at the true spirit realm and thus had a strong ability to block other senses. Watch out! Zhao Feng suddenly reached out and grabbed Bai Qiaoyu's hand and pulled her to the side. Crack! The black and white tiles in front of Bai Qiaoyu suddenly collapsed and the metallic claw leapt towards Zhao Feng after missing. Ding Xiaofeng's figure flashed and dodged the metallic claw by half an inch, causing sparks to fly. He smiled faintly and stomped the metallic claw into the ground. However, the metallic claw was extremely powerful and forcefully retracted back into the black hole. Thank you. The mechanism just then was very well hidden and even I wasn't sure. Bai Qiaoyu stuck out her tongue. Master Bai on the side nodded his head. Zhao Feng's usefulness couldn't be underestimated. Otherwise, with Bai Qiaoyu's low cultivation and lack of experience, how would she be able to fight against the azure-robed Taoist? The azure-robed Taoist's eyes swept coldly across Zhao Feng's face. This blue-haired brat, coldness flashed through the severed blood-bald eagle's eyes. If it wasn't for Zhao Feng, the transverse water's stronghold would have suffered more casualties than the pirates. However, because of this youth's existence, the two sides had once again reached a draw. Within the secret cave, every step of the way was extremely difficult. One or two corpses would be left behind every section of the way. Although Zhao Feng didn't know much about mechanisms, he had the god's spiritual eye, so he didn't encounter any danger. Half an hour later, those below the seventh sky of the ascended heavens from both sides had all died. Only Bai Qiaoyu, who was heavily protected, was safe. At this time, a long corridor with carved jade beams appeared in front of him. It had an ancient charm and didn't have the slightest trace of mechanism design. This secret cave is the design of the tomb. After walking through here, we'll probably be able to enter the core of the tomb. The azure-robed Taoist smiled. Along the way, he had done a lot for the pirates by solving all sorts of mechanisms. Master Bai smiled and praised Bai Qiaoyu, as well as expressing his gratitude towards Zhao Feng. From the design of the ancient corridor, there didn't seem to be any mechanisms or arrays. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye also scanned around and didn't find any traps. Maybe we're out of danger. The head of the Bai family revealed a joyful expression. The azure-robed Taoist and Bai Qiaoyu used their hands to knock on the wooden structure of the corridor. In the long corridor that was filled with an ancient charm, the special wood also emitted an intoxicating fragrance that lingered in one's mind endlessly. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed, feeling that something was wrong. This secret cave had close to 100 years of history, so how could it still have such a refreshing fragrance? Wait! The azure-robed Taoist's expression suddenly changed. There's some kind of soft fragrance in this corridor. We shouldn't have knocked on these structures. Bai Qiaoyu's petite body went soft, her face blushed red and she couldn't stand properly. The two sides felt their blood swell up and they couldn't control their bodies. Zhao Feng only felt a primal flame burning in his body. Bai Qiaoyu's beautiful face in front of him evoked endless desires in his body. Not good. This is probably the drunken immortal fragrance that the water moon pirate used to dominate the world. This fragrance makes one's body go soft and uncontrollable. It can even make one hallucinate and has double the effect on females. Master Bai's expression changed dramatically. Drunken immortal fragrance. Everyone felt their brains buzzing. The fire of lust in the men's bodies was like a volcano erupting, unable to be contained. Furthermore, all kinds of hallucinations appeared in their minds, further increasing the flames of lust. On the side of the pirates, there was a female pirate whose eyes were blurry and full of lust. She laid on the ground and started to take off her clothes. Roar! Roar! Several pirates roared and pounced on the female pirate. Soon, they stripped off her clothes, revealing her snow-white skin. Their panting sounds rose and fell one after another. There were also some pirates who stared greedily at Bai Qiaoyu, who was next to Zhao Feng. Bai Qiaoyu's face was red as blood dripped from her face. Her eyes were filled with lust as her body trembled slightly and she leapt onto Zhao Feng's arms. AI! Stop! At the critical moment, the auras of the two experts at the true spirit realm filled the area. However, the power of the drunken immortal fragrance had entered their bodies and mental energy. Most of them only froze for a moment, but were unable to control their lust. Two middle-aged men and one elder from the transverse water stronghold roared as they leapt towards Bai Qiaoyu. Shua! Bai Qiaoyu's clothes were torn apart, revealing a patch of warm, red skin. A pair of pink rabbits jumped out, like a light that was exposed in the darkness, attracting even more saliva. The power of the drunken immortal fragrance affected both males and females, making them feel weak and powerless. Zhao Feng only felt that Bai Qiaoyu's body that had yet to fully develop was emitting an alluring fragrance. Her soft lips directly kissed his neck. Roar! Roar! 5 or 6 people from the pirates and the transverse water stronghold charged towards Bai Qiaoyu in Zhao Feng's arms. The current situation. Those at half-step true spirit realm could barely control their blood and mental energy and were on the verge of exploding. The power of the drunken immortal fragrance was extremely effective even for those at the true spirit realm. If the severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai were females, the effect would be doubled and even they would fall to the ground, unable to resist. All they could do was use their auras of true spirit realm and stop the people in front of them. Qiaoyu. The head of the Bai family roared, but he could barely protect himself. If he didn't control his mental energy and blood, he would also become one of the beasts. Master Bai could only stop the two experts from the transverse water stronghold. The two of them watched as the greedy wolves pounced towards Bai Qiaoyu, the white sheep, and subconsciously closed their eyes. At the same time, the female pirate was drowned in the breath and saliva of 7 or 8 people. Her snow-white body was almost torn to shreds by the pack of wolves. It looked like Bai Qiaoyu was about to enter an endless nightmare. Roar! Roar! 5 to 6 greedy and thirsty figures pounced in front of her, just inches away from her. Zhao Feng sighed and took off his silver eye patch. His faint blue eye scanned across the people that were charging at him. In an instant, a formless chill permeated the air. The greedy figures froze on the spot as the flames of lust in their eyes froze, as if their hearts had been frozen. Chapter 286. The endless nightmare didn't descend upon Bai Qiaoyu. The head of the Bai family opened his eyes and let out a breath. At this point in time, almost half of Bai Qiaoyu's pure body was exposed to the air and a small part of her clothes had been torn. The thirsty figures that had been affected by the drunken god perfume shuddered and froze on the ground, not moving an inch. A piercingly cold intent seeped into their minds and extinguished the endless evil desires in them. After finishing all of this, Zhao Feng's cold blue eyes finally retracted his gaze. He then found that Bai Qiaoyu in his embrace was breathing out and had even taken off her clothes and started to kiss him uncontrollably. A primal flame was ignited in Zhao Feng's body that almost reached the mental energy dimension. This drunken god perfume is so terrifying that it can even enter the mental energy dimension. It has double the effect on females. Even females at the true spirit realm would find it hard to resist and could only surrender. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye opened, and no matter how hot his body was, his heart was calm. He had always been almost immune to the effects of mental attacks. His state of mind was like water. His light blue left eye glanced at Bai Qiaoyu, who was in his bosom. Bai Qiaoyu's body went cold and softened on Zhao Feng's body. When she regained consciousness, her face turned red and she wanted to find a hole in the ground to hide in. Zhao Feng was expressionless as he helped Bai Qiaoyu put on her clothes and supported her. Could it be that his heart is made of ice? Bai Qiaoyu was embarrassed and felt a sense of inferiority. Could it be that she didn't have any charm? Although she had been affected by the drunken god perfume, she had still thrown herself into his embrace and the other had no reaction at all. This was especially so when Zhao Feng's cold left eye looked at her as if he was looking at a pile of bones. Meow meow. The little thieving cat had appeared out of nowhere and was sucking in the drunken god perfume in the air. Zhao Feng's expression changed dramatically. This drunken god perfume was a powerful aphrodisiac that could even affect those at the true spirit realm. From the looks of it, normal animals wouldn't be able to escape. Just as he was about to stop it, he found that the little thieving cat was stumbling drunkenly as if it was enjoying itself. This scene caused Master Bai Qiaoyu, and the azure-robed Taoist to reveal weird expressions. As time passed, the drunken immortal fragrance in the hallway became fainter and fainter. He didn't know if it was dissipating on its own or if the little thieving cat was sucking it away. Both sides didn't suffer any losses, but some people were tired and felt like collapsing. The severed blood pirates and the transverse water strongholds people sat down and waited for the time it took for half an incense stick to burn before moving forward. According to the green-robed old Taoist priest's estimation, he would arrive at the center of the secret cave after passing through the ancient corridor. However, this ancient corridor was longer than he had imagined, and some parts of the corridor contained poisonous smells that could instantly kill cultivators at the 6th or 7th sky of the ascended realm. Everyone was very careful, not daring to use too much force, for fear of triggering the various invisible and fatal auras in the corridor. After walking for about 1,000 feet, they reached the end of the corridor. What entered their eyes was a gray river. No, it was a bug river formed by countless gray insects. These insects were around the size of a thumb and some even had thin wings on their backs. There were so many of them that it seemed like they could swallow the world. Everyone was shocked, and they sucked in a breath of cold air. The countless gray insects formed a bug river that blocked their footsteps. Zhao Feng looked over and saw that the insect river was around 20 to 30 yards wide and it was located in a large tomb. At the center of the tomb was a large, purple bronze coffin that was comparable to a palace. Both sides were dazed. This was the first time in their lives that they had seen such a large coffin. Ha ha ha, we're finally here. This must be the burial place of the Water Moon Pirate. It's hard to imagine how many items the Water Moon Pirate had with him before he died. The pirates laughed savagely as they trembled with excitement, not hiding the greed on their faces. The elites from the transverse water stronghold were also excited and their eyes lit up. The purple bronze coffin, that was comparable to a palace, was located in the center of the insect river, 20 to 30 yards away from the group. Brothers, let's kill them. The severed blood pirates couldn't hold themselves back. Wait. Everyone be careful, these insects should be low-leveled, dead corpse insects that are extremely sensitive to the blood of living beings. Thousands upon thousands of dead corpse worms can instantly devour a person's flesh and blood. The azure-robed Taoist seemed to be experienced and he quickly warned. There were millions of dead corpse insects in the river, and each of them had the aura of a cultivator at the first sky of the ascended realm. Taoist, you're a grave robber master, do you have any way to deal with these dead corpse insects? The severed blood bald eagle asked. Grave robber master. Hearing this title, everyone couldn't help but roll their eyes. No wonder this azure-robed Taoist seemed so experienced and didn't make any mistakes. As long as there's blood of living beings, the dead corpse insects will rush over. There's probably no way to counter this many dead corpse insects. I have a few packets of medicinal powder with me. If I sprinkle them on my body, I can at most ensure that the chances of being attacked will be lower. The azure-robed Taoist said and took out a few gray bags. Seeing this, the expressions of those from the transverse water stronghold changed. The severed blood pirates would have a huge advantage if they had this kind of medicine packet. Luckily, the gray bags in the azure-robed Taoist's hands were only enough for 5 or 6 people. The azure-robed Taoist laughed coldly in his heart. Only those at the true spirit realm have a 100% chance of passing through the sea of insects, and those at the half-step true spirit realm only have a 40 to 50% chance. Normal cultivators at the 7th sky have a 90% chance of dying. His eyes subconsciously scanned across Xiao Feng. Xiao Feng sighed in his heart. It looked like the balance between the transverse water stronghold and the severed blood pirates was about to be broken. I have a kind of thunderbolt fireball here. It can produce a very strong explosive power that can raise everything within a radius of several zhang to the ground. Its fire attribute power should be able to restrain and deter dead corpse worms to a certain extent. Master Bai took out 7 or 8 dark red beads from his interspatial ring. Each one was the size of a baby's fist. He gave these dark red beads to everyone. Although the thunderbolt fireball's effect wasn't as long as the azure-robed Taoist's powder, it was very effective at critical moments. Soon, a thunderbolt fireball appeared in the hands of some of the elites from the transverse water stronghold. Due to the limited number, many people didn't get a thunderbolt fireball. Xiao Feng obviously didn't get one either. Master Bai, my cultivation is too low and it's useless even if I go. Why don't I give this thunderbolt fireball to brother Xiao Feng? Bai Qiaoyu suggested. Master Bai had an amicable expression as he smiled. Xiao Feng's strength isn't bad and he has a bloodline power. I believe he'll be able to cross safely. After entering the purple copper coffin, we still need you. Xiao Feng was, after all, an outsider and Master Bai's trust in him was limited. Now that he had reached this step, his value had reached its limit. Therefore, Master Bai didn't care about Xiao Feng's life or death. Of course, if he could enter the purple copper coffin, it would be the best. Xiao Feng stood where he was and his faint blue hair was extremely eye-catching in the lifeless tomb. Xiao Feng didn't care if he didn't get the thunderbolt fireball. Xiao Feng was curious as to why Master Bai wanted to bring Bai Qiaoyu in from the start. And now, he was personally protecting Bai Qiaoyu and bringing her across the river. Sang. So, the severed blood pirates and the transverse water stronghold flew through the air towards the purple copper coffin in the center of the river. Those at the true spirit realm could cross dozens of yards in just a couple breaths' time. The severed blood pirates and Master Bai arrived at the purple copper coffin. Master Bai protected Bai Qiaoyu as she crossed. Next were those at the half-step true spirit realm and the peak 7th sky. It was extremely dangerous for these experts to cross the river. The dead corpse insects instantly covered their bodies and started to gnaw away at their protective true force. Arg! Screams came from the river. The flesh and blood of the experts at the 7th sky were instantly devoured by the dead corpse insects and their bones were covered by countless insects. A blood-curdling scream could be heard with every breath. Finally, only 4 experts at the half-step true spirit realm managed to reach the purple copper coffin. As for the other experts at the 7th sky, only a third of them managed to make it. There were less than 6 or 7 of them and they were all at the peak 7th sky. Zhao Feng purposely slowed down and was the last to arrive with these peak 7th sky experts. Zhao Feng, you indeed didn't disappoint me. Master Bai's smile was warm, but he was secretly surprised. The other peak 7th sky experts were all in a ruffled state after reaching the purple copper coffin. One or two of them even lost an arm or a leg. On the other hand, Zhao Feng wasn't injured at all. The azure-robed Taoist was also surprised when he glanced at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was just a brat at the 7th sky. Without his powder or Master Bai's thunderbolt fireball, he thought that he would die for sure, but he was able to reach here so easily. At this moment, comparing the two sides, the severed blood pirates had the advantage. It was obvious that the azure-robed Taoist's powder was more effective. On Master Bai's side, there was still Bai Qiaoyu, who was at the 5th sky. After reaching the purple copper coffin, the dead corpse insects seemed to be wary and only came close before returning to the river. Next, the two sides were discussing how to enter the palace like purple copper coffin. The purple copper coffin looked like an enormous coffin, but it was actually a mausoleum. This mausoleum had 4 bronze doors on each side. It was impossible to forcefully enter the palace like purple copper coffin. Even the attacks of those at the true spirit realm wouldn't be able to damage it in the slightest. Moreover, a strong attack could lead to unpredictable consequences. There's a faint palm print in the center of each door. One of the pirates said. This palm print seemed to have been left by someone not long ago. Of the 4 doors, only 3 had this kind of palm print. Furthermore, the size and shape were different. The first palm print was the size of a grown man. The second palm print was delicate, as if it had been left by the hands of a young girl. The third palm print was skinny and twisted, probably the work of an elder. Seeing these palm prints, Zhao Feng's thoughts spun as he thought back to when he touched the stone tablet before entering the secret cave. The first person to touch it was him. The second was Bai Qiaoyu. The third was the azure-robed Taoist. I understand. Almost at the same time, the azure-robed Taoist and the severed blood pirates exclaimed. The shallow handprint between the cracks on the stone tablet at the entrance was actually connected to the door on this side. The 3 palm prints represented the 3 keys to the purple copper coffin. Master Bai understood and immediately protected Bai Qiaoyu in front of him. At the same time, he looked at Zhao Feng with bright eyes. Chapter 287. At this moment, the truth was revealed. 3 of the 4 doors of the purple copper coffin had faint palm prints on them. What was even more amazing was that these 3 palm prints perfectly matched the hands of Zhao Feng, Bai Qiaoyu, and the azure-robed Taoist. When they had just entered, only Zhao Feng, Bai Qiaoyu, and the azure-robed Taoist had used their hands to touch the cracks on the stone tablet. The mechanisms of this water moon secret cave are indeed exquisite. Zhao Feng couldn't help but exclaim. He was the first person to discover the secret, and his reaction was also the fastest. Shua! Zhao Feng flashed past a figure of lightning and arrived at the door that corresponded to his palm print. His actions instantly attracted the attention of both sides. Stop him! Cut off his hand! The eyes of the severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed Taoist flashed as they leapt towards Zhao Feng. The door that Zhao Feng was at was right in the middle of the 2 sides. I can't let this key fall into the hands of the severed blood pirates. Master Bai's heart shook as he released his chi of true spirit and leapt towards Zhao Feng. Even if he couldn't get the key that Zhao Feng represented, he couldn't let the pirates get it. Pa! Zhao Feng was courageous but meticulous and didn't show any fear in the face of danger. The instant his body stopped, his palm pressed onto the faint imprint on the bronze door. Boom! The bronze door opened and a dark azure light enveloped Zhao Feng like water. A strong pulling force came from within the dark azure light and pulled Zhao Feng into the purple copper coffin. In the next instant, The severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai arrived one after the other and clashed on the spot. The berserk chi of true spirit swept across the dark azure light and disappeared. Boom! The bronze door closed and the dark azure light on the surface suddenly dimmed. The two experts at the true spirit realm both leapt into the air. Both the severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai had ugly expressions. I have to get in before the gate opens and the dark green light disappears. The green-robed old Taoist said in a low voice. Just now, Zhao Feng's body came into contact with the dark green ripples and was pulled into it. However, the dark green ripples only appeared for a short period of time, not even a breath of time. In such a short period of time, the number of people who could actually enter was extremely small. This purple copper coffin has a total of 4 doors, but only 3 of them have palm prints. In other words, if we send another person back. The severed blood bald eagle and the green-robed Taoist priest exchanged glances. Master Bai also noticed that one of the 4 doors didn't have a palm print on it. If he sent another person back to touch the cracks on the steel, he should be able to obtain another key. However, the path back was filled with traps and dangers. Even those at the true spirit realm had to be careful. However, at this moment, buzz! The 4th bronze door shone brightly, and with a rumbling sound, a shallow palm print appeared on it. It was slender and powerful. Not good. I'm afraid there's a third party who barged into the Water Moon's secret cave. The expressions of the severed blood pirates and transverse water stronghold changed. As for the Water Moon treasury, it had always been the severed blood pirates and the transverse water stronghold that would open it together. But now, the situation had changed. Apart from these two, there was a third party who had entered the Water Moon treasury. Unknowingly, this created more uncontrollable factors. Let's open the treasury before the third party arrives. Master Bai's expression was solemn as he ordered Bai Qiaoyu to go forward. Bai Qiaoyu placed her little hand on the palm print, and the bronze gate rumbled as a dark green light rippled. Bai Qiaoyu was the first to be pulled in. Immediately after, Master Bai, the head of the Bai family, and another expert at half-step true spirit realm were pulled in. On the transverse water stronghold side, a total of 4 people had entered. The severed blood pirates were equally matched, with 1 at the true spirit realm, 2 at half-step true spirit realm, and 1 at the peak 7th sky. At the same time, at the entrance of the Water Moon cave, 3 figures stopped at the entrance of the greenish-black stairs. They were the brocade-robed youth, the fan-flying bandit, the beauty in the flower dress, and the short elder. The brocade-robed youth placed his hand on the palm print for 2 or 3 breaths and a weird feeling appeared. Looks like there's definitely an expert in the secret cave. This switch was designed to be extremely well hidden and even spiritual sense would find it hard to find. It could only be discovered by the naked eye at close range. Furthermore, the person's hand has to be placed on the palm print for at least 3 breaths in order to obtain a key. The short elder sighed softly. If the azure-robed Taoist or Zhao Feng were here, they would be extremely surprised. This short elder had seen through the mysteries of the stone tablet with just a few words. Although Zhao Feng had noticed the strangeness of the palm print and touched it, luck had played a part in it and he couldn't understand it at the start. However, the short elder in front of him had seen through it with just one glance. Next, the short elder led the way as if he was taking a stroll. Every step was like stepping on a pulse and all the mechanisms and arrays gave him the green light. Looking at the corpses along the way, the brocade-robed young man couldn't help but sigh, "You are indeed a mechanism master." Many of the mechanisms that my master, the Water Moon pirate, comprehended back then were secretly learned from your line. The Water Moon pirate is extremely talented, but it's a pity that his mind is on the evil path, and he only has 20 to 30% of my sect's true inheritance. Even so, he is still very good. The short elder couldn't help but sigh. The 3 of them passed through the secret cave without any obstructions. Only when they reached the ancient corridor did the short elder frown. This corridor doesn't seem to have any mechanisms, but with such a long distance, the designer shouldn't have done something useless. There seems to be the aura of the drunken immortal fragrance and the 8-direction incense poison that Master left behind. The brocade-robed youth sniffed and couldn't help but smile. The combination of these three could be said to be very strong. The short elder was a mechanism grandmaster and his attainments might even surpass the Water Moon Pirate. The brocade-robed youth and the flower-dressed beauty were the disciples of the Water Moon Pirate when he was alive. Inside the purple copper coffin, Zhao Feng appeared in a room made of purple copper. There was a table and a chair in front of him. On the table, there was a scroll. Zhao Feng opened it and saw that it was a topographical map. At first glance, it looked like a coffin. The entire map was divided into 3 layers, representing the structure of the purple copper coffin. Zhao Feng's current position was the first room on the east side. On the map, it was the size of a small grid. Interesting. Then why did the designer leave this on purpose? Zhao Feng opened his left eye and instantly absorbed the map into his mind. According to the map, there was a treasure room on every floor. The first and second layers were the same and were in the middle of each layer. And in the center of the third layer, there was a hanging coffin, floating at the top of the third layer. According to the layout, this should be where the Water Moon Pirate was buried. From the first layer to the third layer, reaching the hanging coffin in the center, I should be able to obtain the essence of the Water Moon Pirate's treasure. Zhao Feng roughly understood in his heart. Just as he put down the scroll, the door to the second room opened and in front of him was a new room. The room that Zhao Feng was in was a starting point. However, he was not in a hurry to enter the next room. Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and scanned every detail in the room. His god's spiritual eye could see through materials and was even stronger than ordinary spiritual sense. Any clues could not escape Zhao Feng's eyes. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye fixed on the stool. In this room, there was only a table and a stool. Normally, when people came in, the first thing they would see would be the scroll on the table. Who would pay attention to the stool? Zhao Feng thought about it and sat on the stool. Creak, creak. The stool sank 2 inches and slid back 3 feet. Then, where the stool was, the floor popped open, revealing a rectangular dark pit. In the dark pit, there was a tea table, including a teapot and cups. Zhao Feng had a weird expression on his face. This design was way too carefree. He reached out and poured 2 cups of tea. The tea contained a trace of coldness. Zhao Feng summoned the little thieving cat. This cat's poison resistance was not normal. Back in the 100 Graves forbidden ground, it even dared to eat poisonous insects. In the hallway, it ate the drunken immortal fragrance. It should be good to let the little thieving cat test the poison. Meow meow. The little thieving cat drank a cup and its eyes lit up, nodding its head towards Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng couldn't help but drink a cup and instantly felt a coldness seep into his organs and into his bones. At this moment, he shivered. However, after drinking this cold tea, he felt his body become stronger, especially his organs. They were stronger and more powerful. Hee, interesting. After drinking the tea, Zhao Feng brought the little thieving cat into the second room. On the opposite side of the second room, there was also a door, but it was closed. Zhao Feng stood in the room for a while, but the door didn't open. Looks like I need to go room by room. Zhao Feng wasn't in a rush. He once again opened his god's spiritual eye and scanned the room. Although Zhao Feng had studied arrays, he was only an amateur when it came to the more detailed mechanisms. The biggest card he could rely on was the god's spiritual eye. The god's spiritual eye could see through and control all details, even reaching the microscopic level and analyzing the essence of things. Soon, Zhao Feng found 5 or 6 places that were suspicious of mechanisms. Meow meow. Suddenly, the little thieving cat jumped onto a wall lamp, which was one of the mechanisms. When the wall lamp lit up and a book came down from the ceiling. Zhao Feng opened it and saw that the book talked about mechanisms and arrays. With a sweep of the god's spiritual eye, the entire book's contents were absorbed. Interesting, what is the water moon pirate's goal for such a meticulous design? Zhao Feng smiled faintly. At the same time, in the north side, in the second room, boom, a ball of fire exploded in the room, creating a stench. Cough! Cough! The leader, Master Bai, had his face blackened and couldn't be wiped off no matter what. The other people were also coughing. Master Bai, you've accidentally stepped on the mechanism. Bai Qiaoyu weakly pointed at the door handle. In the south side, in the second room. Zhe, so there are good and bad mechanisms in each room. One relies on strength and eyesight, and the other relies on luck. The azure-robed Taoist said smugly. Under his unraveling, the third room was quickly opened. He leisurely and confidently led the way. Then, just as he stepped into the third room, with two shio sounds, two metal chains shot out from the hole in the wall and wrapped around his feet. Ah! The azure-robed Taoist screamed as he was hung from the ceiling. Chapter 288. First floor of the purple copper coffin. Zhao Feng was interested, but he wasn't in a rush as he solved the mechanism step by step. There were mechanisms in every room, some good and some bad. For some of the mechanisms that were too detailed, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could only roughly judge them. After passing through the fourth room, Zhao Feng's understanding of mechanisms had reached the beginner level and he had almost understood the mechanism book from the second room. This wasn't only because his learning ability was strong, but also because of his foundation in arrays. According to the map, I only need to pass through a total of 9 rooms to reach the center of the first floor. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. After the fourth room, the difficulty increased. Zhao Feng used the god's spiritual eye and some basic knowledge of mechanisms to search each room. His goal was to get the best out of every room. This way, his actual speed of conquering the rooms would be affected. In the fifth room, there were at least 6 mechanisms. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye had eliminated 4 of them. There were 2 mechanisms left. One of them was in the corner, and the other was in the middle of the room on the floor. It was hollow underneath. Zhao Feng told the little thieving cat to test it out. The little thieving cat's agility was unparalleled and it had a strong sense of danger. Meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paws as its eyes spun and locked onto the corner. Paw. It waved its paw in the air and a faint silver claw slammed into the corner. Whoosh, black smoke came out of the corner and then countless purple arcs of lightning covered the entire room. The purple arcs of lightning locked the entire room like an invisible prison. The power of this lightning can probably instantly turn normal 7th sky cultivators into ashes. Zhao Feng thought. If it was a normal 7th sky cultivator, they would have a 90% chance of dying. The chance of a half-step true spirit realm cultivator breaking out was less than 30%. However, Zhao Feng didn't panic. After eliminating this mechanism, the mechanism in the middle of the room would definitely be beneficial. The little thieving cat shrugged its head. Sometimes, its judgment wasn't 100%. Something like luck was too mysterious. This time, Zhao Feng personally walked to the center of the room and lightly knocked on the floor a few times. In next to no time, the floor automatically slit open to reveal a piece of translucent and sparkling silver jade that was suffused with a layer of piercingly cold light. Mysterious silver crystal. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. The value of this material was comparable to a high-grade mortal weapon. Zhao Feng's judgment was correct. There was a mechanism in every room that could be used to obtain benefits. This kind of mechanism, once opened, could lead to the next room. If it was a negative mechanism, at least half of it had to be destroyed before he could enter the next room. As expected, the door to the 6th room opened. The purple electric current in Zhao Feng's room didn't disappear. He dragged a green electric arc through the purple electric current. The powerful electric currents fused into the green electric arcs on his body. Zhao Feng's body and mind trembled as a numbing sensation spread throughout his body. He hurriedly guided this power into his dantian. After successfully absorbing the electrical energy, Zhao Feng's true power strength faintly increased. Like this, Zhao Feng opened room after room. Because he had the god's spiritual eye, he could eliminate many negative mechanisms, and the little thieving cat's judgment increased his chances of success. As a result, Zhao Feng was able to avoid the vast majority of the dangers along the way. When he reached the 8th room, Zhao Feng's rewards were plentiful. These rewards included materials, books, pills, treasures, etc. There was a pill called the 100 Dissolving Pill that could cure most poisons in the world. It seemed to be the Water Moon Pirate's unique antidote. This Water Moon Pirate is proficient in astronomy, geography, medicine, arrays and mechanisms. No wonder he could dominate the Canopy Great Country in that era. Zhao Feng couldn't help but admire the Water Moon Pirate's talent. There were 10 mechanisms in the 8th room. It wasn't easy for Zhao Feng to obtain a strange item, a strange gray stone. The Water Moon Pirate had collected too many treasures in his life and Zhao Feng couldn't identify any of them. Meow meow. The little thieving cat snatched the gray stone and took it for itself. It even used its teeth to gnaw on it, but it didn't budge at all, showing how strong it was. Zhao Feng didn't ask anything and entered the 9th room, which was the last room. There were at least 11 mechanisms in this room. Zhao Feng used his god's spiritual eye and only eliminated 6 of them. He then studied mechanisms and eliminated 2 more. This meant that there were still 3 mechanisms that needed to be tested. This was because Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could quickly find the positions of the mechanisms. The last room trapped Zhao Feng for a long time. He wasn't willing to give up and had to get the benefits of this room. While Zhao Feng was solving the mechanisms, the other 2 rooms were also in order. On the Severed Blood Pirate's side, the azure-robed Daoist specialized in tomb raiding and was also proficient in mechanisms and arrays. The important thing was that they had the numbers and a true spirit realm expert. Although there were many dangers, they were all solved. On the Transverse Water Stronghold side, Bai Qiaoyu was a genius in mechanisms and had once studied under a mechanisms grandmaster. She had learned a lot on the way here and had become more experienced in solving mechanisms. Furthermore, Master Bai, an expert at the true spirit realm, had protected her the entire time. In terms of efficiency, Zhao Feng should be the fastest and might even be faster than the pirates. However, he strived for perfection and didn't give up on any benefits. Furthermore, he wasn't proficient in mechanisms and arrays. There was only 1 person in the little thieving cat, which was equivalent to 2 people. Their speed was on par with the other 2. While the 3 parties were racking their brains trying to decipher the mechanism, 3 figures were calmly passing through the Worm River. The leading youth in brocade waved the fan in his hand and a pink aura swept across a radius of 10 yards, instantly turning the insects nearby into gray liquid. In terms of strength, the youth in brocade was much stronger than normal true human rank experts. The 3 figures landed in front of the purple copper coffin. North, east, south. All 3 doors have been opened. The short elder only needed to walk half a circle to confirm that it was the west door, which was in the direction of Zhao Feng. The palm print on the west door was the same as the youth in brocades. Are we too late? The flower-dressed girl asked anxiously. We should be able to catch up. But according to the layout, the east, west, south, and north has the best aura. In certain mechanisms, the owner was the representative of the winner. If I'm not wrong, the first person to press the palm print on the stone tablet should be the person from the east. The short elder's eyes flashed. His analysis was correct. The east door was the one that Zhao Feng had entered. I don't care if it's the east or west. We'll catch all of them today. The youth in brocade said confidently with a hint of arrogance. The short elder smiled bitterly but didn't refute it. This fan-flying bandit was the most talented disciple of the Water Moon Pirate and had countless methods. Master Bai and the Severed Blood Pirates weren't his match. There was another important point. The fan-flying bandit had invited a mechanism master like the short elder. His understanding of mechanisms was even higher than the Water Moon Pirates. This combination could indeed sweep through this place. After the youth in brocade opened the door, the three instantly entered the west door. Being on the same floor, they were in the opposite direction of Zhao Feng. The short elder's speed could only be described as miraculous. The first few rooms were all solved in a few breaths. These mechanisms are still a bit rough. The Water Moon Pirate must have been in a hurry to set them up. The short elder said as if he was taking a stroll. The three didn't stop at all as they went straight to the 9th room. Just like what the short elder said, the west passage wasn't good. Not only was it hard, even if they succeeded, the rewards weren't much. The east was the Ying family's setup and had a great advantage. Zhao Feng was the first person to leave his palm print on the stone tablet. First come first served was a great advantage. Although he said this, the short elder's hands didn't stay idle. Crack! The 9th room was solved by the short elder in 20 breaths. At the same time, Zhao Feng, the Severed Blood Pirates and the Transverse Water Stronghold were still in the 9th room and had stayed there for half the time it took to make tea. In other words, the short elder had solved 9 rooms and the other 3 hadn't even solved a single room yet. A master was someone who had absolute authority in a certain area. Even if the Water Moon Pirate came back to life, he would have to admit the difference. After breaking through the 9th room, the fan-flying bandit and company arrived at the center of the 1st floor. In front of them was a small square. At the center of the square was a crystal coffin. On the 4 walls were 4 closed bronze doors with palm prints on them. Inside the crystal coffin were many rare treasures, including rare high-grade materials, glowing jewels and even spiritual-grade weapons. There were all sorts of items that dazzled the eyes of those at the true spirit realm. Any one of these items would make the eyes of those at the true spirit realm light up. However, there were no corpses in this crystal coffin. According to the layout, the items on the 1st floor aren't the best. The items on the 2nd and 3rd floors will be better. Only on the 3rd floor will there be the corpse of the Water Moon Pirate as well as his most important treasures. The short elder said. His suggestion was to give up on the items on the 1st floor and go straight to the 2nd. However, the fan-flying bandit and the flower-dressed beauty didn't move as they stared at the treasures in the 1st floor. 100-flower sack. There's a 100-flower sack. The fan-flying bandit couldn't help but be excited. The flower-dressed beauty also stared at a rainbow-colored sack that was around the size of a newborn baby. 100-flower sack. There's a 100-flower sack of the Water Moon 4 treasures here. The short elder exclaimed. The Water Moon 4 treasures were the 4 treasures that the Water Moon Pirate had used to dominate the Canopy Great Country. Amongst them, the 100-flower sack was the support weapon of the Water Moon Pirate and could be used to create hundreds of poisons. The drunken celestial fragrance was just one of them. The 100-flower sack contains hundreds of poisons, soft fragrances, and other medicines. Many of them could poison those at the true spirit realm and some poison incense could instantly kill those at the true spirit realm. There are also some special medicines that can instantly increase one's battle power or even extend one's life. The flower-dressed beauty's voice trembled. This 100-flower sack was a treasure that those of the wicked path dreamed of. It had many uses, such as killing, saving, strengthening. It was an all-round 100-treasure sack. Once one had this item, even those who didn't have the strength to truss a chicken could kill those at the true spirit realm. Chapter 289. Although the items on the first floor weren't the best according to the layout of the tomb, there was still one of the Water Moon 4 treasures. The fan-flying bandit definitely wouldn't let go of this 100-flower sack. However, the 3 didn't move. The tomb of the Water Moon pirate was filled with traps and dangers. The more important the situation, the more they couldn't be careless. The short, dark-skinned old man walked around the crystal coffin and said with a grave expression, "The mechanisms here are even more profound, and the danger has increased greatly. Compared to the traps around the crystal coffin, the rooms before were child's play. Master, take it slow." The youth in brocade smiled faintly as he stared at the crystal coffin and released his spiritual sense to team up with the short elder. Being the most outstanding disciple of the Water Moon pirate, he had studied mechanisms and arrays to a certain degree. Time passed by slowly. The short elder was, after all, a mechanisms master, and his attainments in this area surpassed the Water Moon pirate. His progress was smooth. Half the time it took to make tea later, over half of the mechanisms around the crystal coffin had been solved. A palm-wide crack had also appeared on the crystal coffin. At this point in time, the youth in brocade and company could barely take some of the items around the crystal coffin, and their expressions were filled with excitement. Just the value of the items on the first floor had already surpassed normal true mystic rank experts. Adding on the 100-flower sack's value, it was even comparable to the wealth of a true lord rank. Crack! A door suddenly opened on the east side of the little field. A blue-haired youth with a cold expression slowly walked out. This sudden change caused the young man in embroidered robes and the other 2 to be slightly stunned. When the 2 realized that the newcomer was only a youth at the 7th sky, they couldn't help but smile at each other. There was a hint of playfulness and cruelty in that smile. "Ha ha ha! This brat is the winner." The youth in brocade's playful gaze landed on the short elder and then Zhao Feng. According to what the short old man had said earlier, the eastern entrance of the mausoleum had a better atmosphere. Leaning toward the east was the pattern of the owner and the winner. The short elder was silent. He sighed and gave Zhao Feng a pitiful and unbearable glance. Even though the entrance Zhao Feng had chosen had the best layout, he was alone and insignificant. If the fan-flying bandit wanted to kill this youth, he could do so with a flick of his finger. When Zhao Feng walked into the hall, he immediately noticed the brocade-robed youth and the other 2 who were trying to crack the mechanism. Especially the young man with the peach fan, he gave him a sense of crisis. However, Zhao Feng was calm and didn't panic in the slightest. He swept his gaze around and sized up his surroundings. Around the square, there were still 4 bronze gates arranged in the east, west, south, and north. To the east of Zhao Feng, the palm print on the bronze gate matched his palm. In other words, Zhao Feng only needed to reach out and touch the handprint to open the passage to the 2nd floor. "Little blue feather, do you dare to bet on whether or not you can escape from me before you open the door?" The brocade-robed youth opened the peach blossom fan in his hand with a faint smile on his face. At his level, killing a brat at the 7th sky was child's play. He just wanted to play with this brat a bit. Zhao Feng didn't move and was expressionless. He could indeed feel the danger from the brocade-robed youth. However, he was confident in his ability to escape. However, Zhao Feng wasn't willing to give up on the treasure in the crystal coffin so easily, so he didn't make any rash moves. Crack! A door to the north opened and several figures walked out. The severed blood bald eagle, the azure-robed Taoist, and 2 other pirates. They were covered in dust and seemed to be in a ruffled state. However, the aura from them, especially the severed blood bald eagle's chi of true spirit, caught the attention of the brocade-robed youth. Coincidentally, at this point in time, the array around the crystal coffin had reached a critical point. The appearance of the pirates caused the brocade-robed youth's attention to temporarily forget about Zhao Feng, who was only at the 7th sky. "It's you, fan-flying bandit." The severed blood bald eagle couldn't help but take a cold breath when he saw the brocade-robed youth holding the fan. Although they were both at the true spirit realm, the fan-flying bandit's reputation was much higher. The fan-flying bandit harumphed coldly. Although he didn't put a severed blood bald eagle at the true spirit realm in his eyes, he couldn't underestimate him. The severed blood bald eagle and company were full of caution as they carefully approached the crystal coffin. The fan in the fan-flying bandit's hand flapped rhythmically as coldness flashed in his eyes. The atmosphere was tense and no one would easily give up on the first floor. Crack! A door to the south suddenly opened and several figures walked out. The leader, Master Bai, had a face as black as charcoal. Behind him was Bai Qiaoyu, the head of the Bai family, and another expert at half-step true spirit realm. Another faction had appeared and an expert at the true spirit realm that could affect the situation. The fan-flying bandit took a light breath as he closed his fan and didn't attack. He still had the confidence to fight 1 against 2 and protect himself. However, killing 2 at the true spirit realm would be much more difficult. At this point in time, the 3 parties formed a delicate balance. It was Zhao Feng who was at the 7th sky that was ignored by the 3 sides. Heiyun Master. Master Bai and Bai Qiaoyu looked at the short elder in shock. The short elder, who was the Heiyun master that they spoke of, was currently solving the mechanism and a bitter smile appeared on his face. Master Bai, Qiaoyu, the current situation doesn't allow us to stand on the opposite side. Hearing this, Zhao Feng came to a realization. Master Bai had mentioned before that Bai Qiaoyu had been taught by a mechanism's master, although she was only an in-name disciple. And now, Bai Qiaoyu's master was right in front of them. No wonder these 3 passed so quickly. So there's a mechanism's master among them. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. He didn't even need to guess to know that Heiyun master had been threatened by the fan-flying bandit to solve the mechanism. How about this, the 3 of us discuss how to split the treasures in the crystal coffin. The youth in brocade squeezed out a warm smile. This suggestion allowed Master Bai and the short elder to breathe a sigh of relief. The fan-flying bandit was the direct disciple of the water moon pirate. He could use various fragrances and poisons to kill people invisibly and was very hard to deal with. Even if the 2 teamed up, they could at most tie. After discussing, the fan-flying bandit had put in the most effort and would take 50% of the treasures. The remaining 50% would be split between the severed blood pirates and the transverse water stronghold. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle didn't disagree and agreed. As for Zhao Feng, he was obviously ignored by the 3 factions. Humph. Once I get the 100-flower sack, killing all of you will be as easy as flipping my hand. The youth in brocade laughed coldly in his heart. The flower-dressed girl next to him also had a smile on her face as she exchanged glances with the youth in brocade. As long as they got the 100-flower sack, they could easily kill normal true human rank cultivators with a single powerful poison. The 100-flower sack wasn't very eye-catching amongst the items. After all, it was only a strange item and its value was in its usage. Its material wasn't as good as a spiritual-grade weapon. If one didn't know the usage of the 100-flower sack, it wouldn't even look like a peak mortal-grade weapon. Therefore, even Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye ignored the 100-flower sack. The water moon pirate was someone from 100 years ago. These people haven't seen Master and the 100-flower sack, so they probably don't know its value. However, the situation wasn't as smooth as the youth in brocade had thought. The azure-robed Daoist's expression changed slightly as his eyes scanned the 100-flower sack. Severed blood pirate boss, that ordinary-looking multicolored 100-flower sack could very well be the water moon pirate's 100-flower sack, one of the 4 water moon treasures. The azure-robed Daoist secretly messaged. Hearing this, the severed blood bald eagle's heart jumped and instantly understood the fan-flying bandit's intentions. At the same time on the other side. When Master Bai's eyes scanned the 100-flower sack, his expression froze slightly, but he didn't say anything. The fan-flying bandit had obviously underestimated the 2 sides. The azure-robed Taoist was a grave robber master, and although Master Bai had stayed in the Transverse Water stronghold for a long time, he had his own connections. Of the people present, only Zhao Feng didn't know the value of the 100-flower sack. His god's spiritual eye instead locked onto the other items. Zhe, there's a bottle of 100-flower saint liquid among the burial items. This liquid is the secret 100-flower wicked sect saint liquid and can help one break through to the true spirit realm. The youth in brocade stared at a blue bottle among the burial items and purposely diverted everyone's attention. Hearing this, Zhao Feng's heart moved slightly. This 100-flower saint liquid seemed to be an upgraded version of the shedding spiritual pill. Crack! The heavy sound of the coffin lid hitting the ground moved the hearts of both parties. The coffin lid had been opened. Success! In the instant of success, Heian Master didn't get greedy and quickly left the circle. Almost at the same time, the three at the True Spirit Realm released their chi of True Spirit as they leapt towards the crystal coffin. Boom! The three at the True Spirit Realm clashed in the air above the crystal coffin, and the resulting shockwave sent the crystal coffin flying. Many burial items flew into the air. What's going on? Why aren't the three at the True Spirit Realm fighting for the spiritual grade weapon or other materials, but a multicolored bag? Zhao Feng didn't understand. All of you, fuck off. The youth in brocade waved his fan and flashes of red light lit up half the field. The three at the True Spirit Realm all fought for the multicolored bag. Most of the remaining people were at half-step True Spirit Realm, and they blocked the shockwaves and snatched some of the treasures. Snatch! Zhao Feng's eyes lit up and he waved his Yin shadow cloak. His figure became dim and he turned into a streak of lightning as he entered the chaotic battle. Because of the Yin shadow cloak and the lightning inheritance, Zhao Feng's speed wasn't any slower than normal cultivators at the True Spirit Realm. In just a few breaths, he had snatched several peak mortal grade weapons that were comparable to the Luoho Bao as well as a few other rare materials. Meow meow. The little thieving cat also joined in the chaos. 100-flower saint liquid. The azure-robed Taoist exclaimed as he fought with the flower-dressed girl for the bottle of blue liquid. Both of them were at the half-step True Spirit Realm, and if they could obtain this secret 100-flower saint liquid, they would definitely reach the True Spirit Realm. This 100-flower saint liquid can help me break through to the half-step True Spirit Realm. Zhao Feng's eyes lit up as he charged towards the blue bottle. His speed easily surpassed the azure-robed Taoist and the flower-dressed girl. The difference was obvious. Bastard, let go. The azure-robed Taoist was enraged as he watched Zhao Feng snatch the bottle of 100-flower saint liquid. The flower-dressed girl also had a cold expression as she circulated her chi of half-step True Spirit and charged towards Zhao Feng. Chapter 290. The 100-flower saint liquid wasn't a rare treasure for the three at True Spirit Realm. However, for the flower-dressed girl and the azure-robed Taoist at half-step True Spirit Realm, its value surpassed normal spiritual grade weapons. The flower-dressed beauty's chi of half-step True Spirit had reached 70% conversion and her cultivation was extremely close to the True Spirit Realm. If she could obtain the 100-flower saint liquid, she would definitely be able to break through to the True Spirit Realm. The azure-robed Taoist's cultivation wasn't much lower and his desire for the 100-flower saint liquid wasn't any lower than the 100-flower sack. The 100-flower sack was something that the three at the True Spirit Realm fought over. At this moment, seeing that the 100-flower saint liquid they were about to obtain was taken by a youth at 7th sky, the anger in their hearts were hard to describe. Schwa! Zhao Feng grabbed the 100-flower saint liquid and put it into his interspatial dimension. Bastard, leave the 100-flower saint liquid behind and I'll let you live. Little brother, give the 100-flower saint liquid to sister and I'll ask senior martial brother to let you live. The azure-robed Taoist and flower-dressed beauty charged towards Zhao Feng amidst the chaos. Chio! Zhao Feng's speed was faster than the two and he easily dodged several rounds of attacks. Not only that, he didn't forget to grab the spoils of war in the air as he dodged them. Spiritual pills, materials, weapons, treasures. Everything was taken by Zhao Feng. On the side, the little thieving cat was extremely fierce and wasn't slower than its owner when it took the treasures. On the other side, the head of the Bai family was flabbergasted. At the juncture of the competition between the three true spirit realm experts, the man and the cat were like fish in water, getting whatever they wanted. This little bastard's speed is so fast. That cloak, could it be an inheritance treasure? The azure-robed Daoist's face was green and his eyes were filled with greed and anger. He's comprehended the rare laws of lightning and his forte is speed. It was hard for the flower-dressed beauty to chase after him. In the chaos, Zhao Feng was even more relaxed than them and easily dissolved the shockwaves from the attacks of the three true spirit realms. His strength wasn't any weaker than normal true spirit realms. In reality, Zhao Feng was deliberately not fighting them. This was not only because their strength far surpassed any one of the dark feather foreshadows, but also because of other factors. If Zhao Feng killed or heavily injured one of them, it would break the balance and attract the attention of the true spirit realm cultivators. Moreover, in such a chaotic situation, it was better to snatch a few more treasures. Time was money. Mysterious snake blood whip. This whip is actually a famous divine weapon of the Crimson Moon sect. Another fierce battle broke out among the crowd. The severed blood pirates and the Bai family began to fight. A dark silver snake whip with blood patterns on it twisted in the air, giving off a strange bloody aura. Of the burial items, there were 5 or 6 spirit-grade artifacts, but this one was the most valuable and had the most unique attributes. Zhao Feng scanned it with his god's spiritual eye and found it weird. The aura of this mystic snake blood whip was only at the low-tier spiritual grade and wasn't stronger than the other weapons. However, in terms of aura, this mystic snake blood whip was similar to the blood moon devouring spirit sword he had extorted from the blood corpse protector, but the latter was a damaged weapon. If I'm lucky this time, I'll definitely need a good close combat weapon when I break through to the true spirit realm. A whip-type weapon is very suitable for close combat in the lightning inheritance. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he made his decision. Back then, when Zhao Feng's cultivation was low, a spiritual grade weapon was useless. But now, the half-step true spirit realm wasn't far away and he could barely use a spiritual grade weapon. At this point in time, several half-step true spirit realm cultivators fought for the mystic snake blood whip. Of all the items, the mystic snake blood whip's value was only below the 100-flower sack of the water moon 4 treasures. The mystic snake blood whip can absorb essence blood to strengthen its quality and power. The highest it can reach is a middle-grade spiritual grade weapon or even close to a high-grade spiritual grade weapon. The azure-robed elder's eyes lit up as he was attracted by the whip. He was an expert grave robber and had done a lot of research on the many treasures in the long river of history. His eyes were sharp. Zhao Feng didn't know the attributes of the mystic snake blood whip. It could absorb blood to increase the quality and power of the weapon, which was equivalent to an inheritance. However, at this point in time, the head of the Bai family, the flower-dressed girl, and the azure-robed Daoist all stared at the mystic snake blood whip. Even the 3 at the true spirit realm were distracted. The mystic snake blood whip was a unique weapon that even those at the true spirit realm would be jealous of. However, the 3 at the true spirit realm couldn't let go of the 100-flower sack. Especially if the 100-flower sack was taken by the fan-flying bandit, he would be able to annihilate everyone. The terrifying killing power of the 100-flower sack could affect the entire situation. This was what everyone was worried about. Therefore, even if they were tempted by the mystic snake blood whip, they couldn't give up on the 100-flower sack. After I take the mystic snake blood whip, I'll immediately escape to the 2nd floor. Zhao Feng made up his mind. If he could obtain the 100-flower holy liquid, the mystic snake blood whip, and other treasures at the same time, he would be satisfied. As for the 100-flower sack, Zhao Feng didn't know what it was used for, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Of course, if Zhao Feng knew that the 100-flower sack had such terrifying destructive power that it could control the entire battlefield, he wouldn't have ignored it. Take it. Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat glanced at each other and charged towards the mystic snake blood whip at the same time. There were 4 or 5 at the half-step true spirit realm near the mystic snake blood whip. Amongst them, the azure-robed Taoist and flower-dressed girl were the strongest, followed by the head of the Bai family and the other 2 at the half-step true spirit realm. That brat's coming again. The azure-robed Taoist's eyes flashed with hatred and coldness. The flower-dressed girl also noticed Zhao Feng, but her expression didn't change. The 2 had made up their minds to kill Zhao Feng if they had the chance while fighting for the mystic snake blood whip. The value of Zhao Feng's Yin Shadow Cloak and 100-flower Saint Liquid wasn't any lower than the mystic snake blood whip. However, they also understood Zhao Feng's strength and speed. Unless there was a good chance, he wouldn't make a move easily. With Zhao Feng's participation, the fight for the mystic snake blood whip reached its climax. The other 2 at the half-step true spirit realm couldn't hold on any longer and temporarily retreated. This meant that only the azure-robed Taoist, flower-dressed girl, the head of the Bai family and Zhao Feng were left. Zhao Feng's battle power wasn't to be underestimated. He wasn't at a disadvantage against 3 at the half-step true spirit realm. This brat's hidden his strength so deeply. The azure-robed Taoist, flower-dressed girl and the head of the Bai family were stunned. Heian Master and the 3 cultivators at the true spirit realm also noticed this. Zhao Feng's battle power was shocking and his speed suppressed the 3 at the half-step true spirit realm, allowing him to control the situation. Chio! Lightning crackled around Zhao Feng as he raised his speed to the maximum and was about to take the mystic snake blood whip. Don't even think about it. Bastard, you're courting death. The azure-robed Taoist and flower-dressed girl attacked Zhao Feng together. The head of the Bai family snickered coldly and didn't protect Zhao Feng, instead leaping towards the mystic snake blood whip from the side. At this point in time, Zhao Feng faced the combined attacks of 3 at the half-step true spirit realm. If Zhao Feng went to take the mystic snake blood whip in midair, he would face the combined attacks of 3 at the half-step true spirit realm, which was no weaker than a true spirit realm attack. I'll leave it to you. Zhao Feng's figure sunk down. Meow meow. A small gray cat the size of a palm flashed in the air and grabbed the mystic snake blood whip before disappearing. What? What a hateful pet cat. The 3 at the half-step true spirit realm were stunned. Under their anger and hatred, they didn't stop attacking Zhao Feng and instead increased their strength. Father, no. In the corner, Bai Qiaoyu's face was pale white as she couldn't bear to watch. Zhao Feng, who was surrounded by 3 at the half-step true spirit realm, didn't show any signs of fear and his expression was cold. Ring of lightning. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and opened his arms. His blue hair danced in the air as if he was a god of lightning. In an instant, streams of blue electric currents formed into a chain that swept in all directions like ripples. The area 10 yards around Zhao Feng was instantly scorched black. Arg! The 3 at the half-step true spirit realm were swept by the ring of lightning and their bodies started to tremble as if they were convulsing. Numb, convulsing, trembling. After an entire 3 breaths. The terrifying power of the ring of lightning allowed Zhao Feng to control an area and even push away the shockwaves from the 3 at the true spirit realm. The azure-robed Taoist, flower-dressed girl, and head of the Bai family spasmed on the spot and couldn't even stand up. Success! Zhao Feng didn't waste any time and retreated with the little thieving cat. Now that both the 100-flower Saint Liquid and Mystic Snake Blood Whip had been obtained, Zhao Feng knew when to stop. His target was obviously the bronze door on the east side. As long as he placed his hand on the door, he would be able to open the path to the second floor. Senior Marshal brother, don't let him run. That blue-haired bastard. The hatred in the flower-dressed girl and azure-robed Daoist's hearts reached the limit. However, the three at the half-step true spirit realm were unable to move after being attacked by the ring of lightning and only had a small amount of battle power left. Zhao Feng's actions finally caused the three at the true spirit realm to be dissatisfied. The fan-flying bandit harumphed coldly and moved the battlefield towards Xiao Feng along with the severed blood bald eagle. The three at the true spirit realm all wanted to kill Xiao Feng. As the three at the true spirit realm and the 100-flower sack approached Xiao Feng, Zhao Feng's expression darkened. These three weren't willing to let him go. Fine. I'll let you guys snatch. Zhao Feng took out the Luoho bow with a vicious expression. In an instant, the three Luoho arrows returned to the Luoho bow. Zhao Feng circulated his bloodline power and the essence of the lightning inheritance had reached the peak of the first level and even touched the second level. In the blink of an eye, three Rahu arrows of ice and lightning intertwined with each other, dragging behind them a few meters long glowing arrowhead as they stood side by side, stirring up a storm of ice and lightning. Ice, thunder, wind, storm. Zhao Feng pulled the bow and watched as the three arrows with his highest comprehension and strongest bloodline landed on the 100-flower sack. Boom! The entire first floor of the square slightly shook. The 100-flower sack was hit by the three arrows and the power of the full-powered attacks of those at the true spirit realm caused the surface of the 100-flower sack to crack. Sizzle of poisonous smoke rose from the surface of the 100-flower sack before being engulfed in black flames. No! Don't! The fan-flying bandit screamed and almost went crazy. The severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai were also dazed and didn't know what to do. Chapter 291. The three arrows that contained the ice lightning storm had unleashed Xiao Feng's lightning inheritance to the maximum and he didn't hold back his bloodline power either. The Luoho Bao's ice lotus symbol shone brightly. The small square trembled slightly, attracting the attention of everyone present. This was especially so for the three at the true spirit realm. They were either shocked or dazed. Zhao Feng's target was the 100-flower sack. The 100-flower sack was a unique item, but it wasn't a true weapon. Its material wasn't as hard as a spiritual-grade weapon. On the other hand, the power of Zhao Feng's three arrows had definitely reached the level of the true spirit realm. The power of the fusion of ice and lightning entered the 100-flower sack through the cracks. Shwa! Poisonous smoke rose from the 100-flower sack as it was enveloped by a layer of black flames. You dare, the fan-flying bandit pointed at Zhao Feng with a trembling voice as he jumped up and down. His expression was extremely ugly as if he was about to cry. Master Bai and the severed blood pirate's eyes bulged out in shock, unable to accept this reality. Zhao Feng was extremely curious. The reactions of these people were too exaggerated. Didn't he just destroy a bag? Whoosh! Whoosh! The cracks on the 100-flower sack's surface continued to spread and gave off a multicolored smoke. Not good. The expressions of Master Bai and the severed blood pirate changed dramatically as they retreated. The 100-flower sack contained hundreds of poisons and fragrances. Some of the poisons could even instantly kill those at the true spirit realm. At this point in time, the three at the true spirit realm all retreated as they held their breaths in fear and used their chi of true spirit to seal their bodies. Zhao Feng felt a fatal aura and immediately moved in front of the bronze door and placed his hand on it. When the green bronze door opened and a dark green wave of light enveloped Xiao Feng like a river. Blue-haired brat! You dare to destroy the 100-flower gate's 100-flower sack. I'll turn your bones to dust. The fan-flying bandit's handsome face was slightly ferocious. It was an expression of extreme hatred. 100-flower sack. What was this thing? Zhao Feng couldn't help but shiver. He felt that the fan-flying bandit wanted to eat his flesh. Due to the fact that the 100-flower sack had been destroyed, the terrifying poisonous aura leaked out and the three true spirit realms retreated far away, not daring to chase after Zhao Feng. What treasure is it that gives off such a terrifying aura that even those at the true spirit realm are wary of? Zhao Feng was no fool. He could vaguely guess the use of the 100-flower sack. However, he did not regret what he had just done. If such a terrifying weapon fell into the hands of the enemy, it would be a nightmare. The fan-flying bandit was obviously furious. If he had taken the 100-flower sack just then, he was confident that he could kill the other two at the true spirit realm and take the entire Water Moon treasury for himself. However, no one had expected that Zhao Feng, the neglected 7th celestial layer kid, would destroy his grand dream in one fell swoop. In comparison, Master Bai and the severed blood pirates were quite fortunate. Of the three at the true spirit realm, the fan-flying bandit was the strongest and had the fastest speed. His chances of taking the 100-flower sack were higher than the other two. If the 100-flower sack had fallen into the hands of this bandit, they wouldn't even have the chance to run away. Zhao Feng's actions had caused the balance between the three forces to be maintained. Without the 100-flower sack, the fan-flying bandit didn't have the confidence to beat the other two at the true spirit realm. At this point in time, the fan-flying bandit could only watch as Zhao Feng entered the pathway to the second floor and the bronze door closed with a boom. Senior brother, this brat should be skinned alive and tortured for 100 days. Make him beg for death. The flower-dressed girl's eyes were filled with hatred. The azure-robed Taoist gritted his teeth as he stared at Zhao Feng's leaving figure. Just then, Zhao Feng had taken two items from the first floor, the 100-flower saint liquid and the mystic snake blood whip. Of all the items, apart from the 100-flower sack, these two were the most valuable. But Zhao Feng had destroyed the 100-flower sack, which was extremely hateful. At this point in time, the azure-robed Taoist, the flower-dressed girl and the head of the Bai family were numb with more than 10 burn marks on their bodies. However, they were wary of Zhao Feng's strength. Zhao Feng had suppressed the three at half-step true spirit realm and the ice lightning tornado he had released was comparable to those at the true spirit realm. All in all, at this point in time, all three forces hated Zhao Feng. Apart from Heiyun Master and Bai Qiaoyu, their expressions were filled with fear as they couldn't imagine what had just happened. Don't worry, that brat will appear on the second floor sooner or later. We have a mechanisms master on our side and our speed is definitely faster than his. The fan-flying bandit's expression calmed down as the coldness in his eyes became even colder. Next, the three parties divided the rest of the funerary goods according to their strength. Amongst the items, there were a few spiritual-grade weapons as well as many precious materials and treasures. In terms of value, the remaining items were higher than what Zhao Feng had taken. However, after the three forces split it, it wasn't as good. After splitting it up, the three parties opened their respective bronze gates. The fan-flying bandit and company were on the west side, facing Zhao Feng on the east side. Master Bai and company were on the east side. The severed blood pirates were on the north side. According to Heiyun Master's analysis, the west side had the worst layout and the best layout was taken by Zhao Feng. However, this couldn't be helped. From the moment he touched the stone tablet, the layout was decided. So what if the layout is good? I will conquer the heavens and annihilate everyone else in one fell swoop. The youth's ambition didn't decrease. The flower-dressed girl nodded her head. Of the Water Moon 4 treasures, the 100-flower sack is ranked 4th. There's also the Water Moon God Peach Fan, the 3-flowered treasured lotus and the Mystic Flower treasured Bible. If senior brother can obtain the 3rd-ranked Water Moon God Peach Fan, even if the two at the true spirit realm teamed up, they won't be senior brother's match. If senior brother can obtain the 3-flowered treasured lotus, even if a true mystic rank comes, senior brother won't be defeated. The most important thing is still the mystic flower treasured Bible. Even if we can't get the other 3 treasures, we can't leave this one behind. The fan-flying bandit said decisively. Back then, although Master had the mystic flower treasured Bible, he was just a step away from reaching the true Lord rank. The most important thing was that he fell in love with Empress Qin. My talent isn't any weaker than his, and my personality is even more vicious. If I can obtain the mystic flower treasured Bible, I'll definitely be able to become the leader of the wicked path and take control of the 100-flower chapter, becoming the 9th superpower. The youth in brocade took a deep breath as the flames of ambition burned in his eyes. The fan-flying bandit and company entered the 2nd floor and started to solve the new array. The path to the 2nd floor also had 9 rooms. As long as one passed through these 9 rooms, they would be able to enter the 2nd floor. According to the layout, the treasures on the 2nd floor would definitely be better than the first. Heiyun Master's speed was definitely faster than the other 3. In just half the time it took to make tea, the fan-flying bandit and company had entered the 2nd floor. The 2nd floor also had a small field and the layout was similar to the 1st floor. In the middle of the field was a crystal coffin and the treasures inside were twice as plentiful as the 1st floor. Water Moon God Peach Fan. The youth in brocade and the flower-dressed woman stared at the elegant mountain river folding fan in the middle of the crystal coffin and their hearts trembled. The Water Moon God Peach Fan was the strongest weapon of the Water Moon Pirate when he was alive. This fan was extremely powerful and it was an inheritance treasure. This fan can activate spiritual illusions and hide 7 types of hidden weapons. It can even transform into an umbrella to defend and attack. It can be said to be both offensive and defensive. Apparently, the Water Moon God Peach Fan's power is comparable to a high-tier spiritual grade weapon. One has to know that the number of high-tier spiritual grade weapons in the Canopy Great Country can be counted on one hand. The youth in brocade's eyes lit up and his face was filled with anticipation. Compared to an inheritance treasure like the Water Moon God Peach Fan, the 100-flower sack was inferior. Of course. Around the crystal coffin were extremely complex arrays that were far more refined than the 1st floor. The mechanisms here are similar to the blueprints from the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. Heiyun Master's expression was solemn. He started to solve the mechanisms meticulously. The youth in brocade released his spiritual sense and teamed up with him. Time passed by quickly. The speed of solving this time was much slower than the 1st floor. The youth in brocade couldn't help but become anxious. He had to solve the mechanisms around the crystal coffin before Master Bai and the severed blood pirates arrived. Soon, half a day had passed. Crack. At this time, Heiyun Master finally opened the crystal coffin. Water Moon God Peach Fan. The youth in brocade laughed and used his chi of true spirit to grab the inheritance treasure fan. He didn't know if it was a coincidence, but as soon as he took the Water Moon God Peach Fan, the north and south doors opened. Not good. The fan-flying bandit got it first. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle's expressions changed dramatically. The 2 groups didn't slow down and charged forward to fight for the other treasures within the crystal coffin. The youth in brocade had the Water Moon God Peach Fan and his battle power indeed increased, allowing him to suppress the 2 at the true spirit realm. What's going on? This Water Moon God Peach Fan isn't as strong as we thought. The flower-dressed girl didn't understand. According to her thoughts, senior brother should be able to heavily injure or even kill the 2 at the true spirit realm in a short amount of time. Damn it. This inheritance treasure needs to be refined before it can unleash its true power. Right now, I can only use 50 to 60% of its power at the same cultivation. If only I had more time. The youth in brocade said unwillingly. In order for an inheritance treasure to recognize its master, special conditions were usually required, such as a bloodline inheritance or a suitable cultivation technique. Being the direct disciple of the Water Moon Pirate, the youth in brocade obviously had a suitable skill, but it needed to be refined before it could unleash its true power. While the three sides were fighting for the treasures, a door opened on the east side. Zhao Feng entered the plaza on the second floor. The reason why he was the last to enter was because he didn't focus on speed. If he entered too quickly, he would bump into the fan-flying bandit, which would be extremely dangerous. His eyes scanned over half of the items on the second floor and he couldn't help but sigh. If Zhao Feng charged up now, he would probably be attacked by the other groups. Both the fan-flying bandit and the severed blood pirates wouldn't let him go. According to this trend, I won't be able to obtain the richest treasures on the third floor. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. In terms of mechanisms, he was alone and definitely couldn't compare to a mechanism master and someone at the true spirit realm. Zhao Feng wasn't willing to give up just like this. However, in terms of strength and manpower, he couldn't compare to the other three. If this was the case on the second floor, the difference would be even greater on the third floor. However, as his thoughts turned, a plan to turn the tables appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Chapter 292. On the second floor, the fan-flying bandit had obtained the water moon god Peach Fan and suppressed 2 experts at the true spirit realm. He even managed to stall everyone by himself. Most of the items in the crystal coffin had been taken by the 3. This was because the water moon god Peach Fan hadn't been refined yet, or else the fan-flying bandit would have been heavily injured or even killed the 2 at the true spirit realm. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle won't be able to last much longer. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. He stood near the eastern entrance with a calm expression and didn't make any rash moves. Zhao Feng. Why aren't you helping? Master Bai saw Zhao Feng and yelled. Blue-haired brat. If we die, you won't be able to live either. A cold light flashed in the severed blood bald eagle's eyes. Zhao Feng's strength was definitely the strongest below the 3 at the true spirit realm. On the first floor, he had defeated 3 experts at the half-step true spirit realm by himself. If Zhao Feng was willing to help, he would have the battle power of half a true spirit realm. Although he might not be able to turn the situation around, he could at least reduce the pressure on the 2 sides. Zhao Feng stood there like a block of wood, not reacting at all. Ha ha ha. Blue-haired brat, it doesn't matter if you help them or not, I'll turn your bones to dust. The youth in brocade robes laughed wildly as he stared at Zhao Feng's divine light with cold killing intent. On the first floor, the fan-flying bandit had already hated Zhao Feng. If it wasn't for Zhao Feng, he would have already obtained the 100-flower sack and killed everyone here. This fan-flying bandit was so dominating. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. It didn't matter if Zhao Feng helped the other 2 or not, the other wouldn't let him go. From this, one could see how confident the fan-flying bandit was that he could suppress everyone with the water moon god Peach Fan. These 2 won't be able to last long. After I force them back, I'll spend some time refining the water moon god Peach Fan. At that time, killing these people will be as easy as flipping my palm. The youth in embroidered robes was confident of his victory. With his strength, he stood at a commanding height. What did he need to fear? Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle were overjoyed by the fan-flying bandit's words. Zhao Feng. The fan-flying bandit won't let you go. Come and help us. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle were in a dangerous situation. Even Bai Qiaoyu couldn't help but say, Brother Zhao, please help us. If this thief succeeded, he would definitely bring harm to the world. You must stop him. Yes. Zhao Feng nodded slightly. With that, he waved his hand. Meow, meow. The little thieving cat grabbed a dark silver snake whip and jumped in the air. Zhao Feng gave a glance and the little thieving cat waved the mystic snake blood whip and joined the chaotic ranks. The little thieving cat's agility was unparalleled and its concealment skills were superb. With a few flashes, it joined the fight for the treasures below. 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal. The azure-robed Taoist, the flower-dressed girl and the head of the Bai family were fighting for a 5-colored crystal. The 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal was a rare material that could be merged into any weapon to increase its power and quality. A single 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal could increase the power of a low-tier spiritual-grade weapon by half a rank. If it was used with other materials, it could even be raised to a middle-tier spiritual-grade weapon. If it was a peak-tier mortal-grade weapon such as Zhao Feng's Luo Ho Bao, a single 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal could raise it to a spiritual-grade weapon. The value of this material was even higher than normal spiritual-grade weapons. Shua! Suddenly, a snake shadow like a bloody whip appeared out of thin air and took away the 5 Elements Piercing Crystal. Thieving cat, you're courting death. Put down the 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal. The flower-dressed girl and the azure-robed Taoist roared in anger. However, their eyes immediately lit up. Not only did the little thieving cat have the 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal, it also had the priceless Mystic Snake Blood Whip. As long as we kill this cat, we can obtain both the Mystic Snake Blood Whip and the 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal. The value of these two items is comparable to the 100-flower sack. The 3 half-step True Spirit Realm experts leapt towards the little thieving cat. They believed that they were no match for Zhao Feng, but dealing with one of his kittens was still a piece of cake. Shua! Shua! The little thieving cat bared its fangs in disdain as its figure appeared and disappeared in the air. When it was hidden, even those at the True Spirit Realm wouldn't be able to find it. This scene caused the fan-flying bandit's expression to darken and he was filled with anger. This man and cat had stolen countless treasures. They were greedy and should be killed 10,000 times over. The youth in brocade made up his mind to kill the little thieving cat when he had the chance. After all, the value of the Mystic Snake Blood Whip and the 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal was close to the Water Moon God Peach Fan in his hand. Even those at the True Spirit Realm would be jealous. Zhao Feng pulled the Luo Ho Bao from afar and shot an arrow at the fan-flying bandit. His attack would only be able to stall the fan-flying bandit for a bit and wouldn't do any damage. Seeing that everyone's attention was on the little thieving cat, Zhao Feng's gaze turned towards Heiyun Master in the corner. Although Heiyun Master was at the half-step True Spirit Realm, his chi of True Spirit had only been converted to 10 to 20% and he didn't specialize in battle. Therefore, he was the same as Bai Qiaoyu and tried to avoid the battle. Master, I've admired your mechanics for a long time. I have a blueprint from the Prophet Legacy in my possession. Zhao Feng's lips didn't move and he didn't even use his true force, but his voice sounded in Heiyun Master's mind. After the god's spiritual eye had evolved and his mental energy techniques had improved, Zhao Feng could directly transmit his voice through mental energy. Heaven's Legacy Inheritance? Heiyun Master paused. Of the 4 great inheritances, the Heaven's Legacy Inheritance was ranked first and the most mysterious. On the current continent, there were a small number of blueprints that came from the Heaven's Legacy Inheritance which surpassed the level of the continent. Thieving cat. Die! The fan-flying bandit exclaimed and waved the Water Moon God Peach Fan in his hand. A ripple of water with a cold intent swept toward the little thieving cat. Pang! Master Bai was pushed back by the fan and the ripple of water with the aura of death leapt towards the little thieving cat. Meow meow! The little thieving cat gave a cunning smile and disappeared. Its sense of danger was very strong. It had even made a dodging move the moment the fan-flying bandit made his move. Where did that thieving cat run off to? Everyone had lost track of the little thieving cat. The fan-flying bandit spread his spiritual sense and suspected that the little thieving cat had been turned into a pile of flesh and blood. Meow meow. The little thieving cat appeared on Zhao Feng's shoulder. Zhao Feng was standing next to Heiyun Master and they were very close to the east door. Heiyun Master. The fan-flying bandit suddenly realized something was wrong and exclaimed. At this point in time, Heiyun Master had a dazed expression as he stood in front of Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng placed a hand on Heiyun Master's shoulder and faintly smiled. "Everyone, I'll be going up to the 3rd floor." After saying this, he grabbed Heiyun Master and headed towards the east door. Oh my god! Everyone's heart shook. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle were completely dazed and took in a cold breath. No one had noticed when Zhao Feng had grabbed Heiyun Master. Everyone's attention had been attracted by the little thieving cat, including the fan-flying bandit who had his eyes on the mystic snake blood whip and 5 elemental piercing crystal. Heiyun Master's expression was dazed and he didn't resist at all as he allowed Zhao Feng to bring him closer to the east door. Little thieving. Stop! The fan-flying bandit's heart went cold and he roared. The reason why he was able to gain the upper hand in the Water Moon Treasury was mainly because of Heiyun Master. In other words, whoever obtained Heiyun Master would gain the upper hand. Brat! Stop! The fan-flying bandit's heart was on fire as he circulated his chi of true spirit and leapt towards Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng had already calculated the distance and was very close to the east door. Shua! Zhao Feng almost instantly arrived in front of the east door and placed his hand on it. When the east door opened and a dark green light enveloped Zhao Feng and Heiyun Master. Zhao Feng didn't go in himself first and instead pushed Heiyun Master in. Stay! The fan-flying bandit screamed as he watched Zhao Feng enter the pathway to the 3rd floor. He used all his strength and could only send out one attack. A terrifying ripple spread out at high speed and was enough to shatter normal weapons. Lightning Ring. Zhao Feng's bloodline power exploded as a lightning ring formed in his hand. This move was a variation of the lightning ring. It had a smaller range but was more concentrated. Boom! A dazzling sphere of electricity exploded, intertwining with the fan-shaped water ripples that vibrated at high speed. In that instant, the east door slightly shook. Half of Zhao Feng's body had already passed through the door, so he had only received half of the power. Dang! The east door closed and Zhao Feng's figure disappeared. Before the east door closed, Zhao Feng could still hear the fan-flying bandit's angry roar that shook the entire 2nd floor. Success! Zhao Feng wiped the blood from his mouth. Next to him, Heiyun Master's dazed expression returned to normal as he looked deeply at Zhao Feng. The younger generation will surpass the older. Master, I hope you don't resist. I believe we can work together smoothly. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. His blue hair slowly fell to the ground. The little thieving cat was sitting on his shoulder and rubbing his face as if it was taking credit for its success. Heiyun Master's heart was filled with shock. This youth had only glanced at him and he felt as if he couldn't resist. This move of yours is indeed vicious. Heiyun Master said with praise, but then his words changed, however. I've been poisoned by the fan-flying bandit. If I don't get the antidote within half a day, I'll die. You think I can't see you've been poisoned? Zhao Feng smiled faintly. He was already prepared and a grey pill appeared in his hand. This is the 100 dissolving pill. The Water Moon Pirate's antidote. Heiyun Master exclaimed with a face of joy. This 100 dissolving pill was obtained by Zhao Feng when he was passing through the 1st floor's entrance. The east entrance was the best and only Zhao Feng had obtained this pill that could cure all poisons in the world. Heiyun Master immediately swallowed the 100 dissolving pill, and the poison in his body began to quickly dissolve as it was expelled from his body. Thank you. From now on, I will help you open the path to the 3rd floor. Heiyun Master said solemnly. However, Heiyun Master revealed a look of hesitation. I have the confidence to let you enter the 3rd floor as quickly as possible, but you should know the strength of the fan-flying bandit and company. Relax, from now on, I'm in control of the situation. Zhao Feng's voice contained a power that could calm one's heart. Chapter 293. Second floor of the purple copper coffin. The fan-flying bandit roared and roared for a long time. The chi of true spirit in his body almost ignited. This blue-haired brat. The youth in brocade's face twisted as the anger and hatred in his eyes turned into killing intent. The severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai were both shocked and stunned. The sudden situation at the end was completely out of their expectations. Who would have thought that Zhao Feng, the weakest party, would make such a counterattack at the critical moment? In one step, that youth had turned the situation around and seized the initiative. Without a doubt, Zhao Feng could enter the third floor of the purple copper coffin as fast as he could with the mechanism's master. The third floor was where the Water Moon pirate was buried, and the treasures there were definitely the essence of the entire Water Moon secret cave. Senior brother, the 3-flowered treasured lotus and mystic flower treasured Bible are definitely on the third floor. That brat's guts. The flowery dress woman was still in a state of shock. Only now did she react, and her chest heaved up and down. Humph. Heian Master has been hit by my 9-death flower poison, and without the antidote, he'll die in half a day. The third floor is the hardest, and even if that brat holds the master hostage, he won't be able to open the third floor. The youth in brocade calmed down. Without the antidote, Heian Master would die in half a day and probably wouldn't be able to solve the last part. Furthermore, the reason why Heian Master was able to solve the mechanism so easily was because of my spiritual sense that was close to the true mystic rank. Without my help, Heian Master's speed would probably drop by 30 to 40%. Thinking up to here, a cruel smile appeared on the youth's face. This means that we still have hope. The flower-dressed girl revealed a joyful expression. On the other side, Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle felt extremely lucky. Zhao Feng had taken the mechanism's master and weakened the fan-flying bandit's control. This Xiao Feng's strength and methods are so vicious that he can fight against normal true spirit realm experts. Master Bai couldn't help but feel slightly regretful. He had always treated Zhao Feng as a chess piece, even wary of him and distrustful of him. When crossing the insect river, Master Bai had decided to give up on this chess piece. But he didn't expect Xiao Feng's performance to break the rules time and time again. Now, he was even able to overturn the situation and seize the initiative. The severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed Taoist had to admit that they had underestimated Zhao Feng too much. At this moment, Zhao Feng had the upper hand, although he might not succeed. Let's go. That Zhao Feng definitely won't get the mystic flower treasured Bible. Master Bai's face was full of confidence as he asked Bai Qiaoyu to open the southern passage to the third floor. The fan-flying bandit and the severed blood bald eagle didn't want to fight anymore. After dividing up the treasures, they quickly headed for the third floor. However, the 9 rooms leading to the third floor were filled with traps and formations, making it even more difficult. As for the severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed old Taoist priest, it took them half an incense's time to clear the first room. Flame Su, the master, Feng, the Su, the was, of silver. Copper, was. The fastest was obviously Zhao Feng. After the first room, Heian Master said hesitantly, the reason why I was so fast before was because of the fan-flying bandit's help. This bandit's spiritual sense is close to the true mystic rank. I'll help you. I won't lose to him. Zhao Feng's voice was calm and powerful. Heian Master obviously didn't believe it. After all, Zhao Feng's cultivation hadn't reached the half-step true spirit realm. In reality, with Zhao Feng's strong source of mental energy, he had already formed a spiritual sense. However, he usually didn't use it as it was miles away from the god's spiritual eye. If there were no obstacles, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could easily see hundreds of miles. Next, Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and followed Heian Master's instructions to help him solve the mechanisms. The result was that the first room was successfully solved. Heian Master was slightly surprised but still didn't believe it. maybe luck played a part. However, in the second room, Zhao Feng's accurate eyesight surprised Heiyun Master. In the third room, Heiyun Master's surprise turned into shock. Apart from not being familiar with mechanisms and lacking experience, Zhao Feng's eyesight was even better than him. If it was said that Heiyun Master needed 10 breaths to understand the structure of a mechanism, then Zhao Feng only needed 1 glance. The problem was that even if Zhao Feng saw the structure of the mechanism, he didn't know how it worked and it was useless. Genius. A rare genius in 10,000 years. If you're willing to learn from me, this old man can help you become the only mechanisms grandmaster in the northern continent. Heiyun Master was extremely excited and his face was red. Sorry, but I'm also a forging genius, pill genius, array genius. Zhao Feng's expression was calm as if he was used to this situation. Back then, the blood-haired man and Taigon Master had to rely on his own control to create the wheel of light and darkness. One had to know. The blood-haired man's cultivation had reached the true lord rank and Taigon Master's skill in forging could be ranked in the top few in the great country. Only then did the heat in Heiyun Master's eyes dim. It was as if he was looking at a monster. If what this youth said wasn't wrong, then he was an all-rounder genius. His guess wasn't wrong. Zhao Feng was an all-rounder genius. Apart from body strengthening, he was like a fish in water in everything else. The speed at which Zhao Feng and Heiyun Master solved the mechanisms together was unimaginable. If you and I work together, our speed will definitely be the best in the continent. Heiyun Master's heart jumped. Zhao Feng only needed 1 glance to understand the structure of any mechanism. Furthermore, as he followed Heiyun Master, Zhao Feng's knowledge and experience were also increasing. Finally, the two only used half the time it took to make tea to solve the 9 rooms. This is too fast and the layout of the east side is indeed good. Heiyun Master couldn't help but sigh. On the way, Zhao Feng had obtained a lot of benefits and he had even obtained the 100 dissolving pill. Creak. The door to the 3rd floor opened. Zhao Feng suppressed his excitement and stepped into a new little square. The 3rd floor didn't change in size, but the space above his head was huge. In the middle was a crystal coffin that hung in midair and a corpse could be faintly seen inside. It hadn't changed at all even after 100 years. Inside the crystal coffin were some burial items. Although there weren't many, any one of them was at least a spiritual-grade weapon. Inside the crystal coffin was a palm-sized 3-colored lotus throne. It gave off a warm glow, looking very eye-catching. This is the 3-flowered treasured lotus of the water moon for treasures. Heiyun Master's face was filled with shock as if he had seen a beauty. He didn't have such an expression on the 1st or 2nd floor. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye scanned over it and immediately confirmed that the value of the 3-flowered treasured lotus surpassed the water moon god peach fan and 100-flower sack. It was even more valuable than the latter two combined. The 3-flowered treasured lotus is the inheritance of the 100-flower chapter and a sacred item of the wicked path. Back then, the water moon pirate had this item which allowed him to block the combined forces of many true spirit realm experts. Even those at the true spirit realm couldn't do anything to him. Heiyun Master sighed. Hearing up to here, Zhao Feng's heart beat faster. After Heiyun Master's explanation, he understood the use of the lotus. The 3-flowered treasured lotus was a defensive treasure and didn't have any offensive abilities. However, its defensive and supportive abilities were extremely strong. Firstly, the 3-flowered treasured lotus could fly extremely quickly and if a true mystic rank used it, its speed would be comparable to the true lord rank and it didn't expend much energy. Secondly, the 3-flowered treasured lotus could form 3 petals to protect its owner and normal true spirit realm attacks wouldn't be able to break through its defense. Lastly, the 3-flowered treasured lotus could release 3 different fragrances which could clear one's mind, hypnotize one's mind and increase one's mood. The three-flowered treasured lotus could even gather heaven-earth yuan qi to increase one's cultivation speed. It was because of this item that the water moon pirate was able to reach the peak true mystic rank in just a few decades. The first, clear, fragrance could clear the hypnotic and aphrodisiac effects and could even cure most poisons of the wicked path. The three-flowered treasured lotus is the water moon pirate's most important treasure and his trump card. If you can refine the three-flowered treasured lotus, you'll be able to block the attacks of those at the true human rank for a short period of time. Heiyun Master smiled and said. Zhao Feng nodded his head and his gaze moved above the crystal coffin. Above the crystal coffin hung a mystic ice crystal that gave off a cold aura. Sealed within was an ancient book that glowed with a dark light. Mystic Flower Treasured Bible. Zhao Feng's heart jumped when he recognized the words on the book. Heiyun Master and Zhao Feng arrived near the crystal coffin and started to solve the last mechanism. I didn't think that the last mechanism would use the blueprints from the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. Heiyun Master's expression became solemn. His understanding of mechanisms naturally far surpassed the water moon pirate himself. However, the core of the mechanism came from the most mysterious and ancient Heaven's Legacy inheritance. The intricacy and complexity of the mechanisms here were unimaginable. Even Heiyun Master was puzzled by some of the principles. How about this, I'll draw out the structure of the mechanism. Zhao Feng suggested. Draw it out. Heiyun Master was stunned. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Feng took out a brush and paper and began to quickly draw on the map. His eyes were calm and the hand holding the pen was extremely steady without any trembling. In a single breath, Zhao Feng drew several dozen blueprints, his accuracy reaching a terrifying level. Heiyun Master looked at the complicated blueprints in front of him and couldn't help but take in a cold breath. Zhao Feng checked again and again to make sure that there were no mistakes. Master, how long will it take to solve the last mechanism? Zhao Feng asked. You've given me the blueprints so I'll probably be able to solve it within half a day. At that time, the crystal coffin will open and you'll be able to obtain the three-flowered treasured lotus. Heiyun Master said. Half a day isn't long. Then how long do you think it will take for the others to reach the third floor? Zhao Feng asked. They'll need at least 5 to 6 days to 10 days to reach the third floor. Heiyun Master revealed a smile on his face. The passage to the third floor, with the two of them working together, their speed was unparalleled in the continent. Good. It's going smoother than expected. Zhao Feng revealed a joyful expression as he sat down and took a sip of the 100-flower saint liquid before starting to cultivate. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.